I'm from the
Same place as trap music, this that first react music. They can't hold me back, I'm feeling good cause I'm black music. Can't nobody touch.
Happy Sunday, and welcome back to another episode of Cigar Sundays Live, where we define, examine, and analyze words, sayings, and phrases used in American culture. And tonight, we will be smoking on trauma bonding. So grab your thinking caps and get ready to smoke on words with two big nerds, myself, Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, and the God, Ali Dawood L at BK Soul Farm. And we are the Cigarden Panel. Peace, God. How you feeling on this beautiful Sunday?
Peace, God. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good, man. Life has been lifing. But as you can see, right, I'm still in it to win it, right? I got plans. I got good intentions, right? And if I wake up tomorrow, I got purpose, right? So it's gonna be a really good day, right? So life is life, and I'm living it. So that's what I got.
Life is life, and I'm living it to the fullest. Speaking of living it to the fullest, my week always blessed to see another day. Thankful to see another day. Blessed is both, and thankful for it. Man, I had a very eventful week. Got my taxes done. Well, almost. Almost. They're almost done. I'm waiting on the call from the accountant tomorrow. We're talking today and yesterday and all week, you know. And then shout out to my little cousin, man. They had a football tournament. He plays for 11U, and they was down in Myrtle Beach. So I went down there and caught a game or two, and they got the trophy, you know. And he's doing real phenomenal. And that his dad brought him down. And his dad and his mother, you know, and they came down there, man. They was hanging out, and it was interesting. It was interesting. The parents are crazy, very entertaining.
That's their future on the line, right?
Yeah, and they passionate about it. For real, it was a lot of smiles, a lot of, you know. I even got hyped up in there. But
no one of them little kids out there, man. Shoot.
Yeah, I thought that was dope, man. I was just like, man, this is what this is about. But that was a very fun and eventful experience, and yeah, just looking forward to tonight's show. We got trauma bonding, and yeah, before we get into the questions for tonight's smoke, y'all, make sure to like and share this video, please, y'all. Like and share the video if you're watching, please, and thank you. And also subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so when we go live, you never miss an episode of Cigar Sundays Live. And if y'all go ahead and subscribe to DBCHEFTV, now you can subscribe to Cigar Sundays too. Please do that too. But subscribe to DBCHEFTV. When you subscribe there, you enter your name into a hat to be part of our $100 giveaway every third Sunday right here on Cigar Sundays of each and every month from now until 2027. All right. We're going to be giving away $100 just to a random subscriber, and just to show our support. Appreciate y'all for supporting us, tuning into the content. And we want to give back directly to you. So that's what we're going to do with it. And then when you get finished subscribing, head on over to www.bksoulfarm.com and pick up your copy of 10/16/160 Self-Sustainability by that brother right there, Ali Dawood L. And get yourself together so you can support your interests and live. And we thank you for that. And like we always say, if your money's tight, it's all right. We're going to still love you. Just smash the like. You know, that's all, y'all. So let's go ahead and jump into these questions for tonight's smoke. Trauma bonding. So our first question is, what do you think of when you hear the words trauma bonding? Second, how do we recognize when a bond is built on trauma versus genuine connection? Third, how does music, movies, and hip hop influence how we view trauma bonding? Fourth, does growing up in survival mode shape the way we bond with people? And fifth and final, last but never least, is trauma bonding bad, good, or misunderstood? And you know what you got to do to hear what the Cigarden Panel thinks or what their insight is on whether it's bad, good, or misunderstood. You got to stick around for the whole show, y'all. You know, so if you're gonna stick around for the whole show, then you might as well get in the chat and and go crazy. All right. Just remember, keep it respectful. But we're gonna include you in, y'all, in the conversation. And depending on when you're watching this, you can drop it in the comments below. And we always gonna respond to you because we value your insights. So let's go ahead and get into our first question of tonight. What do you think of when you hear the words trauma bonding, the God Ali Dawood at BK Soul Farm?
Peace, God.
Peace, God.
So what I wrote down. So when I think of, I wrote down external epigenetics. You know how they say with epigenetics, it's in your genes, like so you can actually pass down traumas through your genes from parent to parent. So if you don't leave a certain area or change your environment or change how you live, you're more than likely to respond the same way as your parents did and your parents did and so forth. I think that's how I understand epigenetics to work, right? But for trauma bonding, I feel like it's like external epigenetics where people what they say, misery loves company. So they look for things where they can share and dump on somebody that can take it, right? And it's like not so much they can take it, but somebody that can relate, so they won't even feel like they're being abused, right? I also wrote down low budget therapy.
Low budget therapy.
or Timu therapy, so to speak, right?
Timu therapy. Hey, you better, it's a lot of people that shop on Timu. They got
I shop on Timu.
good stuff on there. Cheap though. I get the point though. Cheap.
Right. To where again where people are not necessarily qualified. This is what we talk about, having qualifications to give opinions, right? Somebody got to be in a proper mental space, headspace, of financial reality, spiritual understanding, like whatever you're dealing with, the person you are dumping on or unloading on or sharing with, I guess, has to have enough emotional intelligence to receive it and not let it trigger their stuff. But that normally doesn't happen. What normally happens is we do like this tit for tat stuff where we just add on to each other's pain, and now we just sitting there more and more angrier, or we hold on and internalize all that stuff, and we don't actually express how what you said makes me feel, and we don't get it out. Like it just don't help. Like it seems like it's helping because you're talking to somebody, and that's what they always tell you to do: talk to somebody.
Talk to your therapist.
Talk to your therapist, and everybody don't feel comfortable going to a therapist, so talk to somebody. Talk to a friend. Talk to a pastor. Talk to somebody. The problem with talking to somebody is everybody not qualified to ride in your front seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's dangerous. So that's what I think. Right? I think external epigenetics where people just add on and looking for similarities and looking for somebody they can dump on comfortably. They're just going to give them an excuse to not necessarily do better or more, right? The person is empathetic or sympathetic.
Well, sympathy and empathy both.
Yeah, they probably both. Yeah,
they both correlate because empathy is about having feelings, being considerate, and then sympathetic is, I think sympathy was a little bit more was a little bit more of like thinking down.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, sympathy was more like thinking down.
Yeah, so it's not sympathy, then it's definitely empathy.
Yeah, empathy was more like being
concerned. The feelings and stuff they share,
like empathy is like why you apologize. Like you might have hurt somebody's feelings.
Correct.
So you apologize, and then you don't repeat the same thing because you're like, okay, that was wrong.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have done that.
I'm with that. Yeah.
Even if you didn't know what you was doing was wrong, but they told you that it made them feel a certain type of way, then you could then still having empathy is still having the ability to be like, you know what, if it made you feel like that, I apologize, because that wasn't what my intentions were. And then you explain your intentions to be able to have the dialogue with the person.
Correct.
But like what you was talking about earlier, like people not having the ability to be qualified to sit in the front seat. A lot of people will look for other people to not point out to them they're wrong.
Yeah.
Just be riding with them on they wrong. And then now you get enough people to ride with you on your wrong, you're going to start to believe you're wrong as being right. And then
you won't change.
And you won't change. You won't because you won't never, you don't have empathy. You lack a certain level of empathy.
And the problem with that, or the dangerous part with that, is like that might be something that you will now start to pass down. Right?
Yeah, you could.
Right? Because if you internalize that and make it a thing, and now your circle becomes even more diabolical.
Yeah, but what's dangerous about that is your circle becomes people who will know that you don't have it. So if you look like you in a distress, they won't help you.
Correct. Oh, correct. Correct.
They'll kick it with you when it's good.
Correct.
But if you look distressed, they won't help you though.
Correct.
So they'll take that same attitude that they displayed with you and leave you alone on your island. But those were the people that you want to be your friends. That's so buddy and everything else. So
because we have fun together.
It's one of them things where it's like where it's like everybody deserves their own form of peace, for what it's gonna be.
And that's true.
And I always say, like, if you live long enough, then you're going to develop what your peace is. And it may not look what other people consider normal because it's yours. It ain't theirs. Like
they kind of really don't even matter in your situation.
Yeah, like it's like mind your business. Like if you focusing on your life, then guess what? You're gonna be improving things in your life.
Correct.
But if you're focusing on somebody else's life and their personal stuff that they got going on, and they not out in the street with it, they not putting it on display for everybody to see, then all you can do is assume. And pretty times you're gonna be making an ass out of yourself because you don't know. You don't know why you on the outside looking in.
And you probably don't have the need to know.
And you don't. There isn't a need to know.
You probably don't. I'm just saying, more than likely, and that's my thing. Like real talk. Like if I don't have the need to know, I kind of really don't care.
I mean, what human does, like, unless and I always say that too, God. Like, we don't care about things that we don't care about. You know, like that's a human thing. Like nobody cares about something that they don't care about.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, so if you are expressing it so much or trying to make it a thing, then obviously you care about it. You know, and sometimes it's just like, why do people even care about that? Like, why would you even care about that? You know, like, why does that matter to you? Because are you going to do something about it? Are you going to be a rescue ranger? And
No, and that'd be
you
my
know what I'm
problem,
saying?
right? Because
Like,
that's why they looking at as motherfuckers. They want to just look and see and just be seen.
yeah,
That's I don't know, man. It's weird. But that's what
it,
I got. Like,
it
trauma
is
bonding
weird.
is, to me, at least what I think trauma bonding is, like, it's low budget therapy. You know what I'm
Low
saying?
budget therapy.
And what you got?
Trying to find commonality or trying to find something safe. And I go back to what we were just talking about, where we live in a culture today, but without going too far into the questions, where people will gather on wrong and nobody will focus on right. And is it because of the trauma from having having to be told what to do as we grow up, having rules?
And
Um,
I'm grown now.
is it because of um just ignorance, and when we say ignorance, just like a lack of knowledge of what you have going on in your own self, your own personal things. Like the thing I always say is, like, I've been diagnosed, so I know what I'm dealing with. I talk to my therapist. I'm not walking around here thinking that I could do no wrong. I'm not walking around here thinking that I'm righter than everybody else. If I make a mistake, I own up to it. So like you can't expose me. There's no exposing a person who's willing to tell on themselves. Okay. Because my grandma, my 94-year-old grandmama, who was just bowling with my little sister, that was another beautiful thing this week I did.
Man, that's beautiful.
You know what I'm talking about, with my sister and my little cousin. Grandmama always said, man, be the first to tell on yourself. Deal with your consequences, how they gonna come, and you go ahead and get it over with. But when you lie, you're gonna have to tell another lie. Then you're gonna have to tell another lie. And like Bob Marley always said, you can fool some people sometime, but you can't fool all the people all the time. Because now you gotta tell another lie for your first lie. And now you gotta tell another lie for your first lie. So I think that trauma bonding comes in many ways too. For safety, for comfort, out of ignorance, out of likeness, where people could be from the same place, so they experience some of the same traumas. So it's like, oh, you from here, so you must be like this, that whole stereotypical box that everybody get thrown in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's mainly what I get from it when I hear trauma bonding, and I also get, like, something dysfunctional, maybe something that's toxic. Yeah, so I get like safety, because people trying to be, safe around people, another person that maybe shared the same experiences. Toxicity, where it looks on the outside that it looks toxic to somebody else, but the people going through it is normal, because that's what they're used to. So yeah, God, that's what I get. I get the, toxicity, safety, trying to find comfort in something that's likeness, some ignorance, a little dysfunctionality, a little dysfunctionalism, if that's a word. We're not gonna just be making up words on the show about words. We're gonna look them up, but but something dysfunctional.
I like toxicity. I like toxic a lot.
But we do make up ignorance though. That is, we did coin the term ignorance right here on Cigar Sundays live. But yeah, y'all let us know what you think of when you hear the words trauma bonding in the chat or the comments below, depending on when you're watching the show. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and jump into several definitions. We got a few definitions right now because trauma bonding is not a defined word in the dictionary. Okay. So what we're gonna have to do here is we're gonna have to go and we're gonna have to look at trauma. We're gonna have to look at bond, and then we're also gonna look at what asking AI, Google, and Wikipedia, because Wikipedia actually has, like, I think the most vast definition of what trauma bonding is. An accurate definition. I can't even call it accurate because they say Wikipedia can just be typed in. Anybody can edit and add some type of definition to Wikipedia. So
the most acceptable, I guess.
Yeah. So we have trauma first, y'all. Trauma is a noun, and it's an injury. And then it says to living tissue caused by an extrinsic agent, and we are all living tissue. Go bump your toe. Bump your toe on the dresser or something going to the bathroom. Trust me. You're going to say ouch. All right.
To say the least.
To say the least, right? Then we have B. We have a disordered psychic or behavioral state resulting from severe mental or emotional stress or physical injury. Okay. We have an emotional upset. And then we have 2, an agent, force, or mechanism that causes trauma. Okay. So let's see what the thesaurus has on trauma. And trauma is just trauma. There's nothing else like it. Okay.
The only way to even talk about trauma is trauma.
It's only trauma. It's just trauma. All right. Yeah. And then we have bond here. Something that binds or restrains, fetter, a binding agreement, a band or a cord used to tie something, a material such as timber or brick, or device for binding. And then we see it as in chemistry, an attractive force that holds together atoms, ions, or groups of atoms in a molecule or crystal, which we are. All right.
That's a fact.
Then we have, which the human is an atom, an ion, a molecule, a chemical bond. Then we have D, an adhesive, cementing material or fusible ingredient that combines, unites, or strengthens. Okay. Then we have a uniting or binding element or force, a tie. The bonds of friendship is what is used as an example. Then we have an obligation made binding by a forfeit of money. Okay, that's usually when the amount of money somebody goes, or if you need a bond, if you get arrested. And it also goes into B, 5B, one who provides bail or acts as a surety. If you want to know what a surety is, get you a Black's Law Dictionary and look that up. Finance, an interest-bearing certificate of public or private indebtedness. D, an insurance agreement pledging that one will become legally liable for financial loss caused by another by the act or default of a third person or by some contingency over which the third person may have no control. Then we got in masonry, the systematic lapping of a brick in a wall. All right. As operative. Then we got the state of goods made, stored, or transported under the care of an agency until the duties or taxes on them are paid. That's like a bonded truck. Then we have alcohol. 100 proof straight whiskey, baby. 4 years old, under government supervision before bottled. So do we have a we got a US bourbon? I didn't know we have. Do we have? Are we do? I know we got oil reserves. Do we got a bourbon reserve too? That's 100 proof. They just saving that for what?
I don't know.
All right, so then let's get into adjective, and then we got verbs. So what we did?
Yeah.
Masonry. So we got the verb to secure payment duties on tax by giving a bond, to convert debts and secured by bonds. Insurance, to provide a bond for cause to provide such a bond, a cause to adhere firmly. To embed in a matrix. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right, to hold in a molecule or crystal by chemical bonds. And then we have, and then let's go to, oh man, I think we popped off.
Yeah.
Okay. What's going on here? Okay, let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. My bad, y'all. Moving too fast. Moving too fast. Okay. And we're back. All right. So then we have the intransitive verb, and to hold together or solidify, or as by means of a bond or binder, to form a close relationship, especially through frequent association. Okay. And then we have bond as a adjective, and it says archaic, bound in slavery. So bond has a multitude of uses, and even a historic one, which is slavery. That they just told us we ain't getting no reparations for because it was legal, because we made the laws legal.
Okay? The laws legal.
We made the laws, so it wasn't legal when we were doing it. So we didn't break any laws, so we don't owe the Black people of America anything. You know, if you interpret it any other way, then you probably smoking crack. You know, and what Whitney Houston say? Crack is whack.
It's whack.
All right. Rest in peace to Whitney.
Rest in power.
For real. So let's go over here to traumatic bonding with Wikipedia. And let's see what we get for this one here. We get traumatic bonding, also referred to as trauma bonding, is the process of an abuse victim developing a strong emotional bond with the perpetrator of the abuse.
What?
The two main factors that contribute to the establishment of a trauma bond are a power imbalance in the relationship. Example, whether the abuser has control over the victim in some way, and intermittently rewards and punishments. Okay. So we could say that the way we recently saw something like this played out to kind of give our viewers an example of what this would kind of look like. We saw rap mogul Sean Puffy Combs, go through his trial and everything. And this is what they were saying, that Cassie and the Jane Doe, that both young ladies who were the victims in some way, this is what they had, that it was a power imbalance in the relationship, and it had intermittent rewards and punishment. So the rewards were, take you shopping, take you to the runway, private jets, this luxurious lifestyle. And then
you might get your ass whooped in the hallway in the hotel.
There you go. Right. So that's what that looked like. That would be an example of the trauma bonding or traumatic bonding with the perpetuator of the abuse. All right. And then to continue reading, it says intermittent rewards and punishments means that the abuser will be violent and cruel one day and then be kind and lover another day. The victim endures the abuse in the expectation that the abuse will be temporary, abet in a recurring cycle of abuse that predictably returns to abusive behavior. Okay. So trauma bonding is not an emotional bond between survivors of a shared traumatic experience. This is what it's saying. Trauma bonding is not an emotional bond between survivors of a shared traumatic experience. So what I'm looking at is when they say that, it says trauma bonding can occur with abusive romantic relationships, platonic friendships, parent-child relationships, incestuous relationships, cults, hostage situations, sex trafficking, especially that of minors, hazing, or tours of duty among military personnel. Okay. So this is why this right here, trauma bonding can occur with abusive romantic relationships, platonic. See, I don't like how they start this off and then the examples that they give, because to me, incestuous relationship, that can be considered abusive. The sex trafficking, especially of minors, that's definitely abusive. Hazing is definitely abusive.
Oh no, I think they was just calling things out specifically. I don't think they saying anything is less abusive.
Okay, but reading it in context, to say trauma bonding is not an emotional bond between survivors of a shared traumatic experience, like, okay, if we have a tour of duty and we go through some, or just among military, you served, I served, right? We had some similar traumatic experiences, just wearing this skin that were emotional, and we survived it. So how is it? So how is it not?
They saying there's a different name for that.
Okay.
That's so that first sentence, my understanding, because that first sentence kind of like threw everything out the window for me.
It did, right? It was like, okay, so it's not emotional, like.
And I'm like, all right, so, and I'm looking and I'm reading, I'm like, so where's the word for that first sentence, right? Because then they saying what trauma bonding is, and it can occur with an abusive relationship,
right?
Even platonic friends, like, and when I saw that, I was like, man, so that's like bullying, like, and then I was like, that's why I use the word dumping, right? Because it come like, oh man. But then like the rest of that stuff, like parent-child relationships, like
Some of that stuff can be abusive, right?
And even when they say military personnel,
Hostage situations that could be
to
abusive. They
when
could
I
be
see
tortured.
when I see military personnel, I see the people that get violated.
Yeah, some of the victims, you know,
Yeah, that's what I think of.
yeah,
So
it's a
so I
lot of
don't based off what I'm reading right now, you and I have never tried.
well, that's fantastic.
Hell yeah.
That's fantastic. So continuing to read though, trauma bonds are based on terror, dominance, and unpredictability. As the victim develops a stronger emotional bond with the abuser, it can lead to a cyclical patterns of conflicting emotions in the victim. Frequently, victims in trauma bonds do not have agency, autonomy, or an individual sense of self. Their self image is an internalization of the abuser's conceptualization of them. Okay. So that is so that means is that I should be what you think of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and I need to try to live up to your standard, you know.
Because you think I'm a whore, I need to stop acting like a whore.
Right.
I need to now cover up head to toe. I need to not even go outside because there's men's outside and they might look at me and that's gonna yeah.
But if your activity is whorish,
Yeah, that's
if your activity is whorish and you purposely go out to because maybe you have low self-esteem
correct.
and you don't have the ability to you don't have any other attribute about yourself that you think will attract the opposite sex but your physical,
Mm,
then you're intentionally seeking attention based on validation from others to look at you on, you know, on that level.
correct.
So definitely that's interesting. So continuing to read, trauma bonds have severe detrimental effects on the victim. Some long-term impacts of trauma bonding include remaining in an abusive relationship, adverse mental health outcomes like low self-esteem. Damn, I ain't even read that far. I'm just thinking that. Okay. And a negative self-image. Okay, boom, there it is. An increased likelihood of depression or bipolar disorder and perpetuating a generational cycle of abuse. Yeah, like you said earlier, God, like people pass that down.
They pick something up and then pass that down.
Yeah, like they'll carry hate. You know, they'll carry hate and then because they carry the hate, they want to make somebody else have that same carry that same hate.
Yeah.
You know, so they'll pass it down instead of teaching like
and it's not even real hate, right? It's some hate that they just picked up. It's not even something that was taught to them from when they was a baby.
Yeah, it usually don't even be something that's threatening their life. You know, it usually be something that ain't even life threatening. Like, you know, it's just they not busy and they don't have enough to do in life. You know what I'm saying? They don't have enough other positive, peaceful, and productive things to do to focus on. So hating just is something that they can do. Victims who develop trauma bonds are often unable or unwilling to leave these relationships. Many abuse victims who experience trauma bonding return to the abusive relationship. And I've seen that plenty of times when people like, well, if you don't like it so bad, why you don't just leave? You know, why you stay with the person? Why do you continue to be in it? And then they make excuses, you know, and I've seen that in other forms too, where it's like a person will try to say, like, oh, this person is this person is that, this person is this person is that. But then why you just don't leave that person all the way alone, you know? Like, we come from a school of why give you a reason in the first place? But I think that nowadays, um, this extra tough thing is, I wish a mother's as a would, you know?
I hated that joke when he said it. I hated that joke because
So
I'm like, people gonna pick it up and they gonna start thinking that's what it really is, and it ain't that.
yeah,
It ain't never been that. You always hope somebody ain't sitting in your seat so you can actually enjoy the show.
but I think it's permeating more now on a level of of ignorance because there's a lack of people being taught how to resolve conflict, um,
Correct.
how to communicate effectively, um, how to have empathy, because everybody wants to be right. You know what I'm saying? And even sometimes, like I even noticed this in my own life, sometimes like, you could be encouraging somebody to do the right thing and it's not even your rules. You know what I'm saying? It's like I ain't trying to get you to do nothing that I'm telling you to do. I'm suggesting that we follow the rules. You know what I'm saying? That we follow that something I gotta do too. Like it ain't just it ain't just you gotta do it because I'm telling you to know. It's like I gotta do it too. Like,
These are not my rules.
yeah, like they're not my rules, you know. But I think it goes back to that whole mindset of the lack of being able to conflict resolve, being able to communicate effectively, um, and having the mindset more of I wish somebody would versus I don't want to give anybody a reason to,
Correct.
you know. So I could go in depth in it, and I'll expound more once we go into our questions. But this last definition right here, we asked AI. And AI said trauma bond is a powerful, addictive emotional attachment that develops in dysfunctional relationships characterized by a cycle of abuse, by a cycle of abuse, manipulation, and occasional kindness. It often forms between an abuser and a victim due to intense, inconsistent highs and lows, making it difficult to leave. Okay.
Wow.
So they're basically giving it to they rationalize abuse, making excuses for a partner's toxic behavior, saying things like they only yell because they are stressed, you know. And this is pretty eye-opening because one of the things is that I always say that, like, dealing with the most emotional creatures on the planet, you know, um, they'll do that. And being part of the opposite of that, the you know, in my attempts to have emotional intelligence, right? You'll understand that okay, you could just been having a bad day. You could have been stressed, you know. So so that could be, it may not even have nothing to do with me, you know. Sometimes it may not even have nothing to do with you. Why people do certain things. But because going back to it, we have that inability for conflict resolution.
Yeah.
That inability to have empathy, that inability to value communication. It's easier for people to carry hate because that makes them feel tough, you know. So and then it's this ignorant ass mindset I call it, of I wish a mofo would, like you really don't want to die, you know what I'm saying? So like I don't get why people carry that attitude, because it's like, if you're gonna push the line then. You know, like crash out. And if you not, then you just fake, then you just a fraud. You know what I'm saying? You just all bark, and you ain't gonna never bite nothing. But you like to pose and what Stephen A word, pontificate. You know, like it's, you know, and it seemed like that when you got a lot of people barking like they're gonna do something, but it's like, man,
Ain't gonna do that.
Ain't gonna do nothing. So you got surrender to win, submitting to an abuser's demands to avoid further violence, mistakenly feeling protected by them, cutting off isolation, cutting off friends and family who criticize the relationship or identify red flags. Addiction to highs, focusing only on the good times, love bombing. We talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
While ignoring or minimizing intense emotional and physical abuse. Defending the abuser, protecting a partner for criticism, sometimes out of fear or magical thinking that loyalty will change them. You know, like, because I stay loyal, he ain't gonna whoop my ass. No, he's still gonna whoop your ass. Okay, but he's still gonna, you know, call you out your name. You still gonna, you know, yell and fuss to get to get to a solution, you know. But for some reason, people be thinking that because it's normalized, you know, that I see that that's where the trauma is.
All the movies and stuff keep showing it over and over and over again.
Right. I mean, we're gonna get to that though. We're gonna get to that, but it's definitely being promoted that is it's definitely being influenced that is normal behavior. And that's not normal behavior, you know. So we got trauma, and it's nothing like it, you know. It's nothing like it. An emotional upset. So with that, let's get into our second question of the evening. How do we recognize when a bond is built on trauma versus genuine connection? Let us know what y'all think in the chat or in the comment section below, depending on when you're watching the show.
You know, I guess if we basing it off trauma bonding, I guess if it's that Jody kind of love, you know, if it starts out with a black eye but ends it with some good loving. You know what I'm saying?
That's wild.
I don't know, God. Like, you know, to be honest, I think the word I used earlier was bullying, right? Because that's what I saw. Like when it said when you talk about platonic friendships and you think about how can platonic friendships become abusive. In my mind, the only way that can happen is if somebody's a bully and somebody's scared to say, hey man, stop. I don't like that. Right? That's the only way, like, I don't know, man. That shit is weird. That's the only thing I could think of. Like, you know, as far as all the other different kind of relationships, I mean, people do any and everything for love, right? And
they try everything, but they don't give up.
Real talk, right? Because you never know if it's really the end till it's over, and then it might come back to you still, right? So
that dumbass thing, that dumbass cliche. If it's meant, let it go. If it comes back, no, it don't.
Nah.
That ain't always the case.
All right, so that's what I think. Like, so I don't know, right? Because for me, I think I can only think about it if it feels or look like bullying. then that's how you know is a trauma dump situation or bad friendship, so to speak, right? It would say, how do we recognize when a bond is built on trauma versus genuine connection? And like that's tricky because like so genuine connection, like I said, like we ain't, like based off what we seen tonight, we ain't, you and I have never did any of that, right?
Any trauma bonding.
Any trauma bonding, right?
No.
However, we do have a genuine connection.
Yeah.
Based off of our genuineness in reality, right?
True, but where we met.
Where we met. But not just, but like we, you know, I met a lot of people in that same place, and
but yeah, that I mean, but that's no everybody ain't genuine. Everybody ain't genuine. That's why. Look. That's why somebody who, you know, whoever is super interested in my guest or who I entertain or how I live my life, my level of privacy, you know, might be like, well, you know, this brother only associate, or he ain't associating, or he don't have this, or whatever it is that has nothing to do with my personal business or their personal business, right? Because genuineness is important.
Yeah.
You know, and like when you live this long, you're not trying to be everybody's friend. You know, you don't when you don't need that and you are self-fulfilled, you know, and then you have your friends that you have your people that you have, like you're okay with that. But
we just said something, God. I think not just you don't need to be everybody's friend, but the people that's trying to be everybody's friend. I think that's a way to recognize a trauma-built relationship.
Yeah, absolutely, because they need validation.
Because that person needs validation from everybody, from as many people as possible.
Yeah,
and you may not necessarily need that person.
I don't need it. I don't need. I don't. I know. I'm almost 50 years old. I know what I need.
That's a good observation.
I need some more money.
Thanks. I need more resources.
Yeah, I need more resources. You know, I need more quality people. What I said is I'm not taking on I'm not taking on any new people that are okay with calling themselves N-words, B's, or hoes. I'm not doing it. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have nothing in common where I'm trying to go. You know? So I don't need to hang out on that level at all, ever. You know, I already did that. And
I've accepted enough of those already.
I did it enough though. But even me in that space, I made bad choices. You know? So now going through life where I'm my trajectory where I'm going at, I don't see myself with that as new company. You know, I got that already. If I need to go and holler at somebody on that level, I can go holler at somebody on that level anytime. And trust me when I tell you, like,
that I love already, and they love me.
And they love me, you know, for real. Like that I would have to tell them, I would have to calm them down. You know, I gotta calm them down when I'm telling them stuff, just cool stuff. I'm just sharing with you, man. Like,
I'm just venting.
Yeah, like relax. You know, like it ain't that serious. You know, and that's what I'm saying. Like I'm stupid. Like to me, that's stupid. Is at one point in time in my life, you know, that those traumas would have allowed me to bond with that type of mindset and be like, you know, yeah, and be on some, you know, but I'm not on that though. Like I don't have time for that, man. Like I got elders I'm responsible for. We got the youth that we trying to get into, you know, get into positive and better situations. You know, I'm in a 5. I'm trying to get to a 7 or a 10. You know, I'm in a 5. I'm trying to get to a 10.
Hell yeah.
You know, like this ain't a plateau for me. This a step up. This a stepping stone. you know. So that's what my mind at. It ain't about trying to, show everything off to everybody right now or impress this person or impress that. Like I'm grown. What they say, I'm grown AF. Like we done already been through that and did that at a younger age, and it wasn't of no value. It was absolutely zero value to that, you know. The women didn't last. A lot of the friendships didn't last. The stuff I don't have. Any of it. None of it. But the stuff we got now, stuff we supposed to have, and it's beautiful, And but we ain't attacked. We ain't heartbroken if we gotta, move something or we gotta adjust something, because guess what? You can't take none of this with you when you go. Not even all this handsomeness I can't take with me. So, we ain't attached. We not stuck on it like that. It's not that significant. Waking up every day, getting life, getting another sunrise, and already dealing with the stuff that from your experiences, the traumas that you have, that you learning to cope with and learning to manage,
in the first place.
That's already enough. It's already enough. Built on trauma or genuine connection, God. For me, I'm thinking like, a lot of times when people build the relationships on trauma, I'm thinking they don't know it because they haven't figured out their traumas. And I take it too, since a lot of the definition was centered around personal relationships, particularly romantic relationships. When I think back to when I was dating this young lady, before I met my loving wife, that's doing her thing right now. Shout out to my baby, doing her thing, getting her bag together. This young lady, I asked her one time, she said, we had an argument, and I did not strike her because I don't punch women. Like I don't punch on girls, I got sisters and cousins that I could get to whoop that ass. You know what I'm saying? But I don't punch on girls. So if I was in that space, but we not even on that because we too busy trying to, but and some homegirls too. But she told me, she said that she was even in trying to resolve the conflict, she was upset with me because her logic was that if a man doesn't do anything out of the ordinary, then he don't really love you. And I was so like ready to get away from her from that, because that scared me, because you think that's okay. And then I asked her about what was in her last relationship, and she was like, "Oh, the dude slapped her and she stabbed him." But then one time when we was, going through something, she told me like, I would still be with so and so if he ain't have all these kids, right? So I was just like, you talking about the dude that was beating your ass and you stabbed? I was like, wow. But I know I'm not going to be here too much longer, but you'll be free to, to double back if you want, because
stab him again, I guess.
Yeah, because we're having these conversations right now, and I'm learning that, you have some traumas and you have some stuff that you haven't, that you haven't healed from. And that's the reason why you think some of this behavior is normal. you know, and I realized that was not that even just meeting and being able to be intimate with somebody does not mean that it's a genuine connection. Were you drunk when you first met? You know, was it at a party? Was
How was the lighting? All that.
Like all of them things play a part for, like, that it don't take it doesn't even take for you to like somebody to create another responsibility, create a human life. you know all it takes is, if we
A
was humping,
moment.
if we was bumping like rabbits, you know
Take a moment.
at a moment's notice. So, and literally, that's because I seen the rabbits on the farm. you know but I realized that, like, in order to have a genuine connection, it's going to meet on terms that aren't traumatic. The meet is on terms that aren't traumatic, and the reason for connecting and staying connected is not because of like having a kid. When we talk about a male and woman relationship, like, it's not like, okay, well, we genuine now because we didn't know each other. We ain't had no time to spend with each other enough, and we just had sex. We had a child, so now we got to do this like this. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Or meeting somebody in the military, and it's just like, okay, because you a brother and I'm a brother, and we the only two brothers at this unit, like, that makes this a genuine connection.
That should sound like a trauma bond.
That sound like a trauma bond, right? So, so I'm thinking that when a bond is built on a trauma, that it is something that's like, okay, even in the situation with the girl, like I was explaining, my whole thing was let me help you through that. Let me be an example of, since the last guy you had to stab, let me be an example of a guy that we don't have to do that. Let me be an example of somebody that you don't have to be all loud with and be all ignorant and acting like, you can be a lady when we having a conversation. You can still curse, like, you can use whatever words, but you can be a lady though. You don't have to be a ratchet. You know what I'm saying? You can act like that you have a problem and you just need to communicate what it is. You don't have to act ugly about it. So what I realized was that that's what she was used to, and that's what she was looking for.
That was her normal.
That was her norm. And because that's not my norm, I knew it wasn't gonna work. And because I value a genuine connection. I didn't want to have a bond that was built on me always trying to be your therapist, but then also be your life partner in the things that you refuse to address. You just want to, I am who I am. I'm going to flash out. I'm going to crash out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And if you want to be with me, then you got to accept it.
Not only accept it, in that scenario, you would have had to take on her thought process of you, of what she wanted you to be, and now be the guy that will whoop her ass because that's what she expects, right? You would have to go against yourself and now be what she needs you to be or what she wants you to be in her mind.
Right. To fulfill her fantasy.
To fulfill her fantasy, just so y'all can have a stable relationship.
That she did that in her mind.
In her mind.
Right. That she thinks is stable because getting her ass whooped every now and then ain't a problem. You know, getting called bees out her name and all types of stuff. You know, she okay with that. Somebody taught her that was cool. And I even asked her, I said, who taught you that? Like, where did you learn that from? You know, and she was honest, you know, she said her mother said that sometimes men gonna do this and sometimes men gonna. I was like, damn. I was like, I never want to have a daughter with you.
For real.
You know, that just made me lose all wanting to even be intimate right there. You know, because I'm like, ain't no way I'm about to set myself up for my daughter to have that trauma like that, and I'm be her daddy, and I'ma love my child and be in their life. You know, she gonna get hugged. So, moving on to question 3. How does music, movies, hip hop influence how we view trauma bonding? Let us know what y'all think in the live chat or in the comment section below. How does music, movies, and hip hop influence how we view trauma bonding? What's up, cuz? Smash that like button, y'all. If y'all in here, we appreciate y'all for watching us, hanging out with us tonight. What you think, God?
You know, I think based off the last thing you was just got finished saying, like it leads right into this question, right? And what I wrote down was, you know, in the movies, like the old school blaxploitation movies, I can't think of I got a scene in my head, but I can't think of the characters or the actual movie right now. But it was from that time period where it was shown a mother saying, if he don't hit you, he don't love you, kind of thing, right? And it was I kind of remember my mother and my aunts kind of like that shit, like almost as if like that was like a common thought process or known from way back, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the movies cemented it, and the music today, like, is just further. I mean, it's just drill music. I mean, it's what traumatic can you get? Like, it's all about right. It's either drill music or horror music,
Right.
And you know, and so you figure you got one that's talking about violently taking out your brother or sister, and then you got the other one talking about taking out your brother and sister with an STD, right? So I don't know. I just think it's just a trap, right? Like it's you know, it's all manipulation, and the industry figured out a way to capitalize off of the ability to manipulate us, right? Because a lot of people like that baby boy scene, right? A lot of people want to be old girl, right?
Taraji.
Yeah, what's the name of the thing? Damn, I can't think of his name. Right,
was that Taraji P?
Yeah, it was Taraji. I'm trying to think of her character name, right?
Oh, God, yeah, I don't know.
Right,
God.
but the reality is, like, and a lot of people are willing to get punched in the eye first, right? And that's and because the movie makes it look sexy, the movie makes it look attractive and normal.
It makes it look very normal.
You know what I'm saying?
Like if you like, this is how you should be acting.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just picking on that movie because it's recent, right? But that kind of scenario was rampant in America thought process, right? You got to think about the whole women's movement and that whole right to vote and all that stuff, right? Like, yeah, we talking about white women when it came to right to vote and stuff like that, but there was a reality that all women, all females were less than and not equal to, right? It was like a whole thought process by the dominant white man that you can just grab them by their hair and drag them back to the cave and shit, right? And that was the thing to do, and it just permeated through the media. You know, the whole Flintstones and like that, like the whole caveman mentality took off,
Yeah.
right? And now we see it with the MAGA movement. It's not much different than grabbing by the hair and dragging back to the cave, right? So that's what I see. I see the media, the music, the movies, all that stuff, you know, contributing to keeping a mindset in place of stuck on stupid, right? Because like it kind of make everybody what they call that, the Stockholm syndrome victims,
Mm-hmm.
right? But we all just love our slave masters. Like, you know what? I love this white man so much, man. I'll fight you for his ass. You know what I mean? And
It's crazy because
it's crazy, God.
it's crazy, God, because I thought, you know, it's go ahead, guys. Go ahead, go ahead. I won't cut your knowledge.
No, I think I was rounding it up. You know, that's what I was thinking about because when you said that story, I remember thinking like, I remember it could just be our age, right? And we just old enough to where we remember, and we was around where common thought processes were common before they changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and even though things have changed, doesn't mean that those thoughts, feelings, and everything has just magically went away. Like it takes, like just like it took generations to imprint,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna take generations to, I guess, unimprint.
Absolutely.
Or the overlap or whatever.
To repair.
To repair, right? Like, ooh, yeah. They said no reparations. They said no reparations.
To repair.
Right, but it's gonna take multiple generations to repair because it can't, like it took multiple to get you here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's gonna take multiple. It just takes one to start, but to actually be a clean, fully functional organism again, working the way that you should, like it's gonna take some time to get right.
Yeah.
So that's what I think, God. I think they did a doozy on us.
Yeah. So when it comes to movies, our question, y'all, is let us know in the chat, y'all, what y'all think. How does music, movies, and hip hop influence how we view trauma bonding? And what I have is, so movies. So we got 12 Years Slave. We got Roots. What else? We got, what was the Django? Unchained. He was Unchained.
And the D was silence, huh?
Yeah, it was just Django. Unchanged. So and then there are many more movies. But one thing that reminds me of this trauma, and I think I was I don't know who I was talking to, but I was talking to somebody offline, and I said, they're younger. I was speaking with a little cousin who called me earlier. Shout out Trey. They call me early. I'm gonna hit you back cuz tomorrow or something like that. I was having a conversation with my cousin, my little cousin, and she's a young lady. She like 26, 27, right? And we were having a conversation about, you know, our actions as people, Black people in general. And during that conversation, something I said, you know, how sometimes we be in the middle of something and we say something and we don't even realize that we said it, but it's just like, damn, that's a realization. So I said, look at we have lived. Now we didn't live through it. We weren't born when slavery was happening. Okay. We weren't born when Jim Crow and the civil rights movement and all of that. We did not experience this. Okay. But for all that suffering and work and everything that has happened, unfortunately, we get to say that we now know the reason why we will not get reparations for it. That's historic in itself. There's still a trauma that's coming from it. It's still a shock. But when you realize, like, Dad, in 2026, the United Nations, Ghana brought to the forefront reparations for Black people in America at the highest council, supposedly the highest council on the world, at the World Council, the UN. The United States government said it was legal because we made the laws legal. So you can't fine us for using our own laws. We did not break any law, especially not laws that we created. This is what they said. So Black people will not be getting no reparations. Y'all might as well not even had a conversation. Okay? We lived to see that. Now, I don't know what everybody else paying attention to.
I saw that. I heard that.
Okay? But now we have, at an all-time high, the youth violence, the ignorance, you know, the women with the whole culture, you know, the brothers wanting to be the real ninjas, whatever the heck that is. But
boys.
But nobody wanting to be some proud Black folks.
Nope.
Nobody wanting to say, nah, we ain't that. Y'all ain't even gonna give us no reparations. So then the only thing that you can be hopeful is that you got your bootstraps together, that you're gonna be able to go out here and keep making money to sustain your lifestyle.
Facts.
But that's all you ever had.
In the first place. Like once we got our freedom, that is.
Once we got our freedom, yeah. But now it's known. It is known y'all ain't getting nothing. So the fact that if you don't value what you have, the things that you have worked hard to obtain, if you don't value where you came from,
what?
then really you just a disease to the rest of the Black people that actually want to be better, that actually feel bad about the fact that, damn, my ancestors died for nothing.
Because they 100% said we're not giving you nothing because it was legal.
Because we made the laws.
We made the laws legal. That's what he said. That's what he said. Yeah, right. So
And you want to go and hurt another black person? Anybody that want to hurt another black person, you a cold sucker. I will use some curse words, but we try not to curse. We trying to use better. We trying to
doing good too, guys.
But you a cold sucker. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that want to hurt another black person, you's a piece of trash. Especially after hearing this, you worse than them folks.
Even if you want to just gossip on another black person, right? Just to bring them down or hate on them, just even hating on them, like you literally worse than them, right? Like they 100% said no repair for you,
nothing for you. So they saying your ancestor died. You mad at me for trying to win? I ain't hating on your wins. I even throw assists. People be mad when you help them. We don't need your help. We ain't asked you to help. But I was helping because I seen people that look like me and I wanted to see them win.
Correct.
But you don't find no value in it because whatever traumas that you done had before, you haven't healed. You're an unhealed person. But see, that's why I say I know what I'm diagnosed with. I work on myself. You know, I can admit when I do. You can't tell on me because I tell on myself. And if I did the crime, then I did the crime on purpose. If I committed crime, if I was trying to commit criminal acts, then I did it on purpose. That's the only time you snitching is when you go do a crime with somebody else and then you tell on the person if y'all get caught. But I don't do crime. So the only thing I could do is tell the truth. And if the truth kill me, then, hey, I died telling the truth. I'm going to go anyway. I ain't tripping. And I've been in the military. So, and been in the hood. And could have lost my life in both places. So if I'm still here now and I'm not doing things purposefully to not lose my life, then guess what? Even if I'm getting pulled over by our law enforcement, guess what? I'm still being respectful. I ain't scared. I got somewhere to go.
Right now.
You know?
I need this to be as quick as possible.
I'm intentional when I'm out in the street. I ain't out riding around, joyriding, you know, hey, let's just drive and go. Nah, everywhere when I leave my house, I have a purpose of where I'm going on purpose. Gas is too high to be joyriding.
You ain't lying.
And am I fortunate enough? Am I blessed enough that I could just fill up the bucket, fill up the hoopty, and slide and go ride a little bit? Yeah, I could do that. But we got plans for that money.
I'm about to say, what are you talking about, guys?
I'm just saying, I could go on a beautiful day, you know, I could go and let the sunroof back, you know.
Yeah, we could, but we got plans.
Yeah, but I got plans though, you know, that might cut in, that might be the difference between the Wagyu and the ribeye, you know. You know,
we keep it Wagyu plans, God, like because you know why? Because we've done everything that we were supposed to have done up until this point, right? Every day we wake up, we continue to remind ourselves that we want to give our best effort, right? We want to be the best, right? That's we set things in motion, like we prepare.
Plant the seeds today. And if you're fortunate enough and blessed enough to get tomorrow, then you can enjoy some of the fruits. And you look forward to that.
Right. Like that's it, right? Like just be the very best version of yourself. And as long as you focus on that, that's not even a lot of pressure or a lot of stress.
It's not, but you know, but people want you to be the worst version though. They do. Because they don't want to be better versions of themselves.
Yeah.
You know? So they would rather continue being the worst version of themselves, and they want you to join in them, you know, like like it was a situation. Somebody said something about being miserable, right? And I'm like, how could you say someone is miserable when misery loves company, but then also say that person is by themselves all the time?
Yeah, people just be talking.
Just be talking, right? And then you get a whole bunch of other dumbass mofos chime in to join the bandwagon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you all in the Kool-Aid and don't know nothing about the flavor. Nothing.
But everybody got sound bites though. Right? Everybody can say something.
Crazy. I was like this, and I don't deny crazy. I'm a black man in America whose ancestors have died and who have tried, who people have been killed and lynched and everything, and we ain't even gonna give reparations.
Yo,
why you not crazy?
But they finally said no, and it was like because it was legal. Like they didn't even say because you don't deserve it. They said because it was legal.
They ain't say because you don't deserve it. They said because we made the laws and it was legal.
Like anybody hearing that should be outraged. Everybody hearing that should be outraged, right? Like anybody black not from this country, like that's on their way here should turn back around.
But then you wish death on other black people.
That's crazy.
But then you want to wish death on a black person. You know what I'm saying? Or harm to a black person. And don't realize that they ain't even your enemy.
At all, God. Like that's really your reflection. Like that's literally, man. Like it's not even enough for us to be
crazy.
Like if we go by their numbers, like if we go by their numbers and their statistics, it's not even enough for us to be the enemy to each other, for real, right?
And that ain't no. And so what if it is on some Malcolm X stuff or some Martin Luther King stuff? He got that, but both of these people got executed too. Both of these people got murdered. Trying to get us, all of us with this complexion, that's not for the protection, for the selection, to value each other.
That's all we got to do. And really, you really just got to value yourself enough, right? Because if you value yourself enough, you will automatically value your brother and your sister, right? Because instead of when you see each other in the streets, instead of mean mugging, it'll be hope that this person charge you up when they walk past you, that they inspire you, right? That they give you some energy, they give you that head nod that you needed because you was having a bad day. You was actually like somebody actually made you feel bad about yourself, and you need somebody to lift hold your chin up, God, like you good.
Think about it. Think about it. We're using the defamation word, right? The N word, right? We're using that, but then it's a greeting. It's a term of endearment. But we're using that casually, and we're using it abusively. Correct. So how do we know when what it is? Instead of saying, let's not use the word they gave us at all to refer to each other. At all. How about we use what you said, God, brother or sister? God, queen, king, lady, young man, gentleman.
A whole bunch of things you can say.
Ma'am, mama, auntie. You know what I'm saying?
It's a whole bunch of things you can say.
It's 1,000 ways to keep it respectful.
Word, right? And we choose ignorance.
But we choose ignorance
because it's cute and it's trendy.
Because it's lazy.
Right? Like think about it, right? I don't even lazy.
Because it's lazy. Because you have to accept accountability and you have to want to do better. Not just look the part, not just think I'm doing better. You know, like putting on makeup, putting on some clothes, dressing up a turd, dipping a turd in gold. But then when you crack it open to its core, it still hurt. It's still a piece of doo-doo inside.
You actually got to go to work for 25 years at the same place in order to qualify for your pension. You can't just look like you did.
They not gonna have you. They not gonna have you. So yeah, God, the hip hop influence. I mean,
yeah,
like the music, what you were saying earlier, the music part of it was I heard this dope song. I can't even call the name. I think it's by Ray Sherman and this beautiful sister. I don't know her name. But I thought the song was dope. But in the song, it's just bad. It's just itches. You know. And I'm just like, damn, they couldn't have made this song without referring to the ladies as bees. For the whole hook. For the hook.
Oh, that was the hook.
Yeah. Dope song too. But I'm just like, damn, they just couldn't have did that without doing that. So the music is encouraging it. You know, the music is encouraging it, even making a good song, but then putting it where it's just like it's normalizing. And I understand how somebody could call somebody out their name and then call them kind afterwards. because you're okay with that. I'm not even okay with it. That's the reason why I explained to myself the way I explained myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, that ain't cool.
At all, God.
That ain't cool for you or me. But people forget that when you had them conversations. You know what I'm saying? They forget that you got more respect for them than they had for themselves. You know, because of trauma bonding, because somebody done made it okay. Somebody done said it's okay because of a hip hop, a love in hip hop, or some TV show. Done made it okay to be abusive and think that that's normal behavior. And then we can go back as long as we buy you this or we buy so I could just pay you to abuse you. And that's even what happened with the Diddy thing. Those that's why I said, yeah, they was victims to a certain level, but they took all of the rewards and they kept going back and they kept doing it, you know. So I don't look at it as like he did something so bad. And even all of the gay stuff that he participated in, like that's his preference. That's what he liked.
Who gives a shit?
Like, right? Like,
who cares?
Who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's wild. It's super wild, guy. But this trauma thing is just like the movies, the music, you know, hip hop, you know, with the killings and the young boys wanting to be super killers. We're like, what? The killer is the cool one.
Yeah, he the real one.
He the real one. The one who's going to jail, who may not make it to see their 21st birthday, 18 if they lucky. Okay.
Might be the reason for your loved one to no longer be here.
Might be the reason for your son who's playing football or basketball or in the Young Astronauts of America program or a Young Scholars program catches a stray because they went to the function and the you know, but the knuckleheads was there and they came through with the super tough, firing and not looking nowhere.
Correct.
And this is what we going through as a culture. More especially black folks. And still proud of being ninjas and bees and hoes. When the government done told you, we ain't giving you nothing. We don't care about your ancestors dying. We did it on purpose. because we made the laws and it was legal. In 2026, I ain't even upset. I'm traumatized.
Facts.
You know, because I'm like, damn, ain't nothing I could do. Damn.
Like God, like you ain't lying.
It's nothing I could do.
I'm traumatized like that.
You just gotta sit there and take that. What you gonna do? The only thing to do is be better.
That's it.
Is be better. Well, all right, then I'm gonna learn everything y'all got going.
That's
everything y'all got going. I'm gonna try to be sharp at all that.
That's it.
So I don't have no time to be beefing with nobody over no foolishness. I don't have no time to be arguing with people over no ignorance for nothing. Because clearly that means that we set the trap and it was real and we did it on purpose. And we don't care about doing nothing to help you with those traps that we already set. So the red line and the Jim Crow, all of those things that set black folks back where they didn't have access to housing and all these other things, the bombings.
We did it on purpose.
Yeah, we did it.
And that's how white people are white people, and that's why they are the way they are.
We're not giving you no leg up in this race. The only leg up is when you get up and put your bootstraps on and strap up and you go get it. So you better pay attention and do what you need to do. That's for all of us that wear this complexion. Okay, if you're checking that box, African American, that's for you too. Moving on to question number 4. Does growing up in survival mode shape the way we bond with people?
Yeah, God. So for me specifically, I can say that what I noticed when I look at other people that's from similar backgrounds as I am myself, we have a tendency to spot BS a lot sooner and be able to make a choice if we want to participate or abstain. Right? I feel like because because we grow up with our head on a swivel all the time, like you could see a sucker, you could see a potential danger, you could see somebody who's just trying to just go through life. Like you can see and feel when the story just don't start off right. And it's like, yo, something about this is off. Right? I feel like survival mode literally does that. It keeps you alive. And it makes you untrusting, right, of others, but very much so of your own intuitions, right, and your own spidey senses, so to speak, right, right. I mean, survival is necessary. Like you gotta know what danger looks like, feels like, smells like, so that you can remain safe if that's your choice. Like not everybody want to be safe. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, some people run to the flames.
Some people run to the flames.
And I'm not talking about EMS and rescue people. No. People we love that, when we call them. Yeah, no, we talking about
crash outs.
Yeah, hard head making a soft hind part.
Yeah, right. So that's what I think, God. I think survival mode keeps you alive, right? And it makes you survive, and it makes you spot BS. But like I said, it doesn't make you choose better or make you make better choices. It allows you the opportunity to decide what choice you want to make, right? Participate with the BS or abstain and do your own thing, right? It gives you a better opportunity to not so much feel like a sheep. That's what I think.
Man, that's tough. Okay, we asking this question, y'all. Make sure to smash that like button, y'all. Please, pretty please, with the thank you with sugar on top. All right. Does growing up in survival mode shape the way we bond with people? Man, so I'm gonna say yes after you get to that point which you just discussed. Because growing up in survival mode, all right, I mean, we are all in survival mode, you know, like constantly. But you know, I correlate the question to the survival mode part of it is like struggling, you know, growing up in the struggle, having you know, having conversations where you hear, well, we got that bill paid, you know.
Put something on it.
Yeah, you know. But then the other bill is coming in now. It's like, okay, now we got to figure out how to get this one paid. You know, that's struggling because it's supposed to be took care of. All of them, all the bills are paid. Sweet. You know, I mean, we at that place now in life from those struggles, you know.
It just feels better, God. What'd you say? All the bills paid. Sweet.
All the bills paid. Sweet. You know,
in the conversation.
Yeah. Done. They, you know, but you got to work to get there. You know, you got to work to get there. Not just literally going to go make money, but you have to work on your budget and your budget discipline and prioritizing your necessities. You know, in order for you to for your actions to equal that. So when I look at struggling, and we look at when people grow up coming up in survival mode, a lot of times people will, when you get to a certain level, they will they'll look for other people that are in that space. Okay, because they feel comfortable.
Yeah.
So like a person will say, okay, well, I could be friends with them because they struggling like us. Right.
I've said that.
Fair enough, right? Because we all been there. Right. But then also there's a thing where a person to get to a certain place and be like, I'm not being friends with nobody struggling because, you know,
said that.
Because I done already did that, and that's not where I'm at now.
Yeah.
You know. So if that's a trauma bond, I think that is because the struggling has been normalized. That period of survival mode is normalized in that person's life. You know, they're in constant survival mode, where at any minute is back to where they was yesterday. You know, understanding that you got to do that stuff like we talked about earlier, doing that stuff today, planting them seeds today so that fruit could be there tomorrow. That's the mindset to have, to not have to feel like that tomorrow and the day after where every day is just survival. Yeah, we know we in survival mode. Everybody know that. You know, we surviving the pandemic. We surviving inflation. We surviving, you know,
Donald Trump.
racism. Donald Trump, you know, not that he is racism all.
No, I'm talking about Donald Trump. We survived Donald Trump is what I'm saying.
Not all in one, but the current administration, you know, for those who's, you know, things don't align with it, right? We surviving you know, all of these the market declines and the stock market ups and downs and all this. We surviving all of this stuff. You know, the real food versus the fake food versus the plastic food, the plastic rice, and the all the diseases and stuff, the high blood
prices,
the high blood pressure, the diabetes, you know, all of these things. We trying to survive all these things to get to death. Yeah, I'm an asshole. I already know it. But but the truth, telling the truth ain't hating on nobody. You know what I'm saying? I got that from Turk, Hot Boy Turk. Telling the truth ain't hating, you know. And I also subscribe to an idea that truth is divine. So if we gonna talk about it, then let's tell everything then. You know, let's not leave out anything. Let's make sure that we cover everything so everybody can be properly informed.
Correct.
So we ain't trying to trick nobody.
Correct.
You know? And I think that when different people's survival modes, they have different principles about themselves, that's what they look for. They search for those things. So they're comfortable with another person that'll support a lie. Even if you tell them the truth, they'll lie for you in public. And you'll befriend that. But I'm like, that ain't even a trustworthy friend, because my friend will tell me I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need somebody who can tell me, like, you wrong as shit for that, Pearl. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, you wrong for that, bro.
I need that person.
I need them people.
I need them people.
You know,
because I'll be done gone.
Yeah.
I'll be done gone.
You know,
to go.
So I value that, and that's why I'm selective with my new friends. See, back when I was younger, I didn't know how to choose like that. I let my survival mode allow me to trauma bond, because okay, this my man over here from this place, goddamn, this my home girl over here, goddamn, you know what I'm saying? They all, you know, these my folks, this my folk over here, this my kinfolk over here, all that. And you know, buddy got this going on, homie she got this going on, boom, boom, boom. We doing all that, but we all in survival mode, all doing the wrong thing.
Correct.
But when you mature and you say, you know what, okay, we did that. And we survived. We, you know, in survival mode, we survived that. Because what was the outcome of that? Prison or coffin, right? So if we still waking up catching sunrises, now obviously, and we not catching them with a steel gate and a plastic tray, all right, then you be thankful for that, and you don't, and you correct your steps. You know, you be a better version of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I strongly think that, in reference to the question, you know, that that growing up in survival mode does shape the way we bond with people, until you get to a certain, until your survival mode changes and you have new principles of survival. And then I think that it's still going to shape the way that you bond with those new people that you take on. From that example you gave, you know, I ain't hanging with them, they struggling. Or I can hang with them because they struggling like we struggling. We all still surviving, everybody just in different modes. Because it looked different. My survival look different.
Mm.
It don't look the same way it did before. So when I was moving and functioning like that, that's how I was moving and functioning. Now I'm in this space and I'm moving and functioning like this. So this is the way that I'm going to structure my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to look different from a person looking on the outside in, because people could be where you at, but they not where you at mentally. Just because you're physically there don't mean that we mentally on the same level. We ain't on the same level mentally just because you could live in the same neighborhood. There may be a difference. And I specifically use the word neighborhood because, you know, it's rare that communities exist anymore, because communities require a certain, they have a prerequisite for a community.
Yeah, I think HOAs is the last ditch of community we see right now.
Man, I had a crazy story about the HOA where she done ran off with the HOA money, plastic
For
surgery, all this wild stuff. I ain't even put it in the flavor bonds, but I'm not giving HOAs community either.
Damn.
I'm not, from my own experience with the HOA, I can't give them community. You know, because if that's the case, if the HOA is community, then the HOA mediates disputes, neighborly disputes.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a community, then an elder would say, come sit down, come talk that, you know, people who've been around for a long time, and be like, hey, this what we, you know, this how we do things around here. So community don't exist no more.
Nah, you ain't lying. That's sad.
That's where we live, bro. That's how this is. That's what this is now.
Like, they literally did say, like, because we made it legal, we made the laws legal. That's why we're not giving you reparations. Like,
literally, God, I wasn't paraphrasing.
That's literally what they said. Like,
I'm good. That's why I love you. I love you, God, because I know you was gonna be like, is Pearl paraphrasing, or is that what they said? And you wouldn't check the tape, right? Yeah, that's what they said, God.
That shit painful, man.
Why you think I'm hurt? Why you think I'm hurt? I don't regurgitate no. I don't be lying on people, God. I don't have time to lie on nobody. I'm gonna hit you with the. If I hit the truth, what I understand is that for most people, lies are okay, but the truth will make them hurt. I don't have no problem with no lie. You can lie on me, like I don't even pay. I won't even respond to it. I don't pay no attention to it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, man, if you're not buying a book, learning how to grow something, if you're not out here learning how to sew something, if you're not out here learning how to put something together, right, then you are in fact suicidal, right? Like you are not scared enough. You don't think that this thing is real enough. Like,
it's not. It's magic. It's Disney World too.
Like you are not in survival mode at all. Like, if you don't, like, because that's what you need in order to survive, right? Like, if you're not growing food, if you don't have a good food source, right? Like, you are not in survival mode. Like, having a job, going to work, all that crazy, like, it sounds good, but the real reality, like, if you look around what's going on the news, if any of that, if a slither of that was the touch over here, right? Like talking about unprepared, right?
So many people unprepared, guys.
What, man?
So many people gonna go to Costco and run to Walmart and run to all these stores and be trying to get all this and all that. And guess what? And it's gonna run out.
It's gonna run out, man. And I tell you what, man, I got a lot of dogs and a lot of ammo, right? Like, you people are crazy to not be storing up your nuts right now. Again, like, the book is not expensive, right? I speak real plain English, and I tell you like real practical things to do, right? Learn how to sew, man, like because we need clothes, right? Like yo, real talk. Like you can raise rabbits and take the fur from the rabbit and make clothes. Like you can do that. Like
You
not
know
even
what I'm saying? You can get your, you can
don't even
get your,
take you a long time. Like
you can get your camera on and you ain't even got to go to Harlem, baby. You
at
know what I'm saying?
all, right? You go to the backyard, right? It don't even take a whole lot of space,
For real.
right? Like, man, like when you go like no reparations, like it's not even like that. I mean, HR 40's out of here. Like they're not even discussing it no more. Like even the discussion of the study of it is kind of pointless and worthless, right? And it seemed like a money grab because even if they approve it, it's like you just trying to take some dollars to put over here to say you're doing a thing after you already said it was legal though. Right? Like all you got to do is say, nah, yeah, it was legal, but we was wrong because human trafficking has always been wrong and it's still wrong till today. So reparations. But no, but if you approve a study for something that you done said that that'd be diabolical.
No. You know how we can get some money for reparations? You know how we can get some money for reparations? Let's do a study. Okay.
That's what I'm saying, God. That's what I'm saying.
Study.
That's what I'm saying, God.
So we got to get a nonprofit. We got to get a 501c. Okay. And then we just got to do some studies and then get some grants. And then that's how you get and then we can pay ourselves a stipend or whatever for operating the research.
But the ignorant among us won't accept that as reparations because that's too much work that we got to do.
That ain't reparations. That's not ignorance. That ain't reparations.
It's not.
Nah, that ain't reparations. That ain't ignorance. Nah, that's not reparations. That's you probably passing out some literature or something or doing a little, that's probably you spending a little extra money with Ancestry.com and these other places and maybe going on some trips to some historical places, coming down to South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, you know what I'm talking about? Going up to New York. So that's just going on some field trips and, getting together, having some speeches and being more pissed off, just being re-traumatized. That's all that's about. They already said we not cutting the check or
apologizing.
These services or apologizing or these services or anything.
They said we did it.
And that's why I'm saying anybody who will not apologize knowing they was in the wrong is just as worse as them folks.
Fucking effing right. Right, like that's
just as worse than them folks. You ain't no better than them folks.
Anybody that justifies think about every one of these white folks or these Caucasians or anybody that's not us that justifies why reparations wouldn't work, right? All your logic goes out the window because it's all BS, and the real reality is because it was legal and because they made it legal. That's the real and only truth, right?
And apology is the most human thing that you could just do. Even if they ain't gonna cut the check, they can say we sorry.
And they said we not saying we sorry because it was legal.
Right. They could say we apologize. They could say I sincerely apologize. Well, what happened was wrong. They could say that, and then they could still and then they could still not cut the check. They can still continue. If we could still have to be bootstrapping it like we have to do, right?
Do anyway.
But through their own admittance of it was we standing on the fact we did what we did. So the heck what?
We did it.
And it was legal when we did it because we made it legal. So it ain't no way that we finna pay for a crime that we finna pay for something that y'all deem a crime that we made legal. That's crazy.
And so many people will be like, yeah, I wouldn't either.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, you crazy. Like that means that you're evil too. right? That means that your integrity is lacking as well, right? Like if you also wouldn't do the right thing, then that means that you are also a bad person.
That's just my opinion. Just my opinion. I agree. Just my opinion. That's my opinion.
That's how I see.
I'm a bad person. I'm a bad person because I stay to myself and mind my business and tell the truth.
Not to me, God.
I'm a bad person because I stay to myself, mind my business, and tell the truth. And I'm willing to apologize. And I'm not ashamed of being wrong. You know? So I'm a bad person for that, but in some people's eyes. Because I'm not ashamed of admitting when I was wrong for doing something. Because I have integrity. Because when I look in the mirror, I need to feel good about me. Because that's the only way I've been making it.
That's it, God.
That's the only way I've been making it. Because ain't nobody helping me. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody doing. Now, let me not say that. I have help.
I know what you meant, though.
But you know what I mean? But when I'm talking about like the things that I have to prioritize, ain't nobody helping me with that. If I don't, if Chef Earl Pearl don't have it, he ain't gonna have it. I can call the God to help me out for something, right? But is the God gonna pay you gonna pay my mortgage, God?
No. Oh, I could. I mean, it depends.
I mean, once. Once, right? Once I might got a good once to come. God, I need it, you know what I'm saying? A couple of the whole mortgage.
The whole mortgage, I got you.
Once.
Okay. I got you.
That's love. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, but then next month again, oh yeah, God, I was working on blah blah blah.
Oh
yeah.
Nah,
and then the next month, God, yeah, blah blah. Like nah.
Nah,
you know, like I'm weak. I look at myself and be like, I'm weak for even thinking that that's cool. To even be trying to knowing you got a whole family, grandbabies. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop it. So, you know, like, where's my consideration for myself, for my responsibilities that I want to have? You know, then I get mad at you when I call you to ask you to help me with my mortgage, and you be like, bro, didn't you want a mortgage?
Did you get what you asked for?
Didn't you know what I'm saying? Didn't you want a house with this and all that? Didn't you want all that? So you wasn't thinking about how you was going to take care of that and blah, 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 and this and that, and you don't have no plan? Okay, well, let me give you a plan, bro. What you dealing with? Well, I don't want to tell you what I'm dealing with and all that. I just want to know if you're going to help me or not. I wouldn't even expect to be your friend for longer.
Because you wouldn't be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't even expect for you to be like, you know, and then somebody and somebody tell me the way I think is wrong because now I'm turning my back on my friend who need my help. Blah blah.
I ain't turning my back on my friend.
Yeah,
like, my friend would have never did that. Like,
never.
My friend would have never put me in a situation like that. Like, I turned my back on a bum and a buster, right? I turned my back on somebody that I got some life back.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
Like crazy, man. Crazy, God. Crazy. That's what I said, God. I had
you know, like I'm just thinking about that conversation. That conversation will bother me for so long. Like even after I cut it off, like because of the way I am, I just be like, why would he even do that? Like what?
like right, like why would it? like damn, we were so cool. Why would he do that? You know, like damn, we was cool. Why would you do it? Why would you not? You know, you just made me not like you.
You just made me like yeah.
And I wasn't even like, even if we wasn't the best of friends, but we were still cool. It was like, all right, it was casual, but like, damn, you just made me not like you with your, you know, with your behavior. Like, nah, that ain't cool.
Yeah.
You can't do me like that. Why you want to do me like that?
Yeah, God, yeah.
You know, what said that you could do me? Why did you think you could treat me like that and it was okay? Like, you could treat everybody else who would deal with you like that, but that's not me. And you should have asked me, hey, if I treat you like this, are we still gonna be cool? I would have told you no.
Yo, and that thought right there that you just said, like, what about me makes you think you can treat me like that? right? And that's when I got to check myself, because I will actually start thinking that, and think I might need to either do some tough shit or go outside myself. Because now I'm living up to your in my mind of what I think you thinking of me. So now I
Right.
need to project and do all this extra
And
stuff.
then I mess around and get tricked out my spot, right?
Nah.
Nah, not at all.
What'd you say about my mama?
Nah, you don't even know my mama.
You don't even know my mama.
You don't even know my mama, for real. You know,
exactly, God. Like, nah.
you don't even know my mama, for real.
And that's definitely maturity. That's the difference between running down the hill and walking down it. Right? Like, yeah, you get down there fast, you can smash mad cows, but if you take your time, you can get way more, if not all.
Right. You know, and that's what wanting me to bond with trauma, wanting us to bond through trauma, you know, through your trauma in particular, you know, through the other person's trauma. Like,
we didn't have the same trauma. We didn't go through the same house fire.
Yeah, like, my mortgage paid. You know? My mortgage paid. Brother, what are you talking about? You know, I've prioritized shelter, you know.
And that's why I say food, clothing, shelter, and the protection of that. Like once you take care of that, right? Like everything else becomes easy. Like, because those things are not easy.
Mm-mm.
I don't care what y'all say. I don't care how basic and how regular and how whatever. It's just necessities, and it's just because they're necessities, just because they the basics, don't mean they're easy to come by, easy to maintain, or easy to sustain. Right? Like it takes work. Like if when the roof leaks, right? That's not a part. That's not a part of the mortgage. Like
you can't call no landlord for that. I mean, you know, when you an owner,
you know what I'm saying? Like
you're gonna have to owe somebody to come and pay that.
And when you do rent, you gotta wait on an owner to fix it.
Yeah. Right? Oh, I'll send somebody over there next week. House surveyors. Well, we don't have no hot water right now. Will y'all be okay? This America. You got water, right? Boil some.
Right? Like you can do that. Like you can
now they want to take you to court. Now they want to take you
to court.
Now they want to take you to court. We called and they told us to boil water till they could get somebody over there. You know, like, did you not have water at all? You know,
like that's what I'm saying. Right?
I can't believe they told us to boil water. Like, obviously, you ain't never been in no hurricane or nothing like that. You ain't never had a real struggle in your life. You've been spoiled your whole life. Every time you went into the zinc, you had daggone hot water and cold water your whole life. You know, so you ain't been no hurricane, no ice storm, no nothing, power outage, nothing.
Nothing, no blizzard,
no flood, no nothing. Because you're spoiled.
Yeah. Yeah, your hot water heater never even went out.
Crazy. Let's check out some of these comments, y'all. We got a bunch of people rocking with us tonight, man. Shout out CM McCray. Talking about some of the movies, Boys in the Hood. Yeah, Boys in the Hood.
Oh, man. I'm going to the store. You ain't got no money. I'm going anyway.
Anyway, right? And I remember my boy shout out to my boy T Mayweather, man, senior chief, man. He was just T might be a mass chief now though, man. T used to be like, he used to call me Lawrence Fishburne. He used to have them little them
the stress balls.
Yeah, the little metal joints.
Yeah.
And I remember in A school, when he would study, he would do that, you know, and I go to his room, sometimes to his barracks room, and so we could go out. We used to go out on the town, and he'd be in there doing that. He'd be like, "You don't want these?" Because that scene in Boys in the Hood when he's sitting there with Trey, riding with them boys, you know. Yeah, man. Shout out Mayweather, man. South Central, yeah, that was a crazy movie too. Juice, yeah, Juice had a lot of stuff in there in Juice that was, you know, people played. And We got Nadine Hans. Shout out Nadine Hans. Appreciate you pulling up. The struggle is real and designed by a system to keep you down. Always rise above and be the best version of you.
All facts, right?
For real. Amen to that. For real. Amen. The truth is divine and it will set you free. For real. Yeah, and we appreciate you for pulling up.
For real.
Shout out to Cub. What's up, bud? But yeah, y'all. We've been going through these 4 questions tonight. What do you think of when you hear the words trauma bonding? How do we recognize when a bond is built on trauma versus genuine connection? How does music, movies, and hip hop influence how we view trauma bonding? And does growing up in survival mode shape the way we bond with people? Let us know in the live chat or the comment section below. And we always going to respond to you. We always going to include you in the conversation. We love to hear your insights. Make sure to smash that like button, please. And thank you with sugar on top, y'all. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's Flavor Bombs.
The Flavor Bombs, presented to you by DBCHEFTV.
So yeah, y'all, our first flavor bomb tonight is we got trash dumped on the owner's driveway. It's a crazy story. We're gonna go check that out. Then we have a propane tank explodes in the car with the driver. It's crazy. Dangerous. We'll see if she's okay. And then if y'all ain't know, man, the U.S. military draft is back and coming soon. So let's go and check that out, and then we gonna exchange our insights on what's going on right now.
Now at 10, garbage collected and then returned right back to where it came from.
He just dumped all that stuff on their driveway, though.
Well, that wasn't an accident?
Nah. Nah, that wasn't no. That was a purposeful dump.
Golly.
Dispute prompting this debris dilemma in an East Bay neighborhood. That ensuing pile of blight causing problems with some neighbors. Good evening. I'm Claudine Wong.
And I'm Greg Lee. The owner of that dumpster company says he got duped by a customer who agreed to pay but never did. So it returned the favor by returning the garbage.
New at 10, KTV's Tom Bakar live in San Pablo to explain. Tom?
You know, this could have actually been a he said, she said story. But those old Ring cameras, they provided a whole bunch of evidence. Express Rental Dumpsters owner says people moving out of a house on San Pablo's 19th Street rented a dumpster for debris removal. The company placed the dumpster as ordered, but says the credit card number given was a problem.
It's a decline. He declined the cars.
Martin Perez, owner of the dumpster firm, says when he asked about payment, all he got was delays and broken promises.
Keeping saying like, oh, I'm going to pay later. I'm going to pay later. I'm going to pay later. And never did. Or say, oh, I'm going to put money in the car so and you can charge on Monday. Happened like Monday. We try again, call, oh, I forgot.
When the company came for its dumpster, it was full. So the driver dumped the dumpster contents back on the driveway. A neighbor told us this.
It didn't block the street. It kind of just went on the sidewalk and a little bit onto literally at the edge of the sidewalk.
Dumpster owner Perez said he had already lost money on the dumpster delivery and pickup. Had he taken the debris to the dump, he would have had to pay hundreds more in dumping fees, increasing his loss. At some point, a neighbor apparently called the police, and the police came out, and they required that the driver remove the debris from the edge of the sidewalk onto the property itself. Later, scavengers came and spread the stuff all over the place.
She said she paid $700 for it, and then all of a sudden I see him back up and dump it all on the ground. I didn't really know what that was about.
Now, the mess the scavengers left was cleaned up by a neighbor who covered it. San Pablo Code Enforcement has opened a case which could come back on the tenant or the property owner, who we are told still lives right in town. Reporting live, Tom Bakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
All right, Tom. So for now, all we know is that pile's just going to sit there where it's been left. At least it's covered because we know the rain is coming.
Well, the rain is coming, and then there's a problem with potential vermin, moving in to keep out of the rain and all of that stuff. So this has to be taken care of, and eventually it will be. But somebody's going to have to pay for this, and it's going to be a whole lot more expensive than if they just paid for the dumpster.
Yeah. All right. Tom Baker reporting live tonight. Thank you, Tom.
Mm-hmm. What you think, guy?
I agree with my man. They should have just paid their bill, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I think I don't know the persuasion of the people, but I think they was trying to take advantage of the English challenged, and trying to take advantage of our current scenario in America right now, and the only thing I wish they would have did was what the cops told them to do was push all the debris and stuff off the sidewalk so that they wouldn't have been liable for anything, right? Like, because that's what the cops told them, like just push it, just to get it out of the way. Because putting it back on their property is one thing, but once it comes on the sidewalk and stuff like that, now you're impeding traffic and now you a nuisance. But yeah, now I'm with it.
Yeah, I actually like the fact that that I live, I ain't in the country, but I'm close enough to the country where we got a dump.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer that. I prefer taking your own trash and going to go. I like having that option because those fees can get costly, man, when you have
Yes.
and like where my I know that's right. They didn't say pay your bills. Real, right? Heck yeah, pay them bills. But I know for sure that it's crazy, when people don't pay and you see trash build up like they was talking about, like with rodents and pests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or you have you have something that happens where you can't just get that trash to the dump, a holiday, things pile up, stuff like that. But then also it's an added cost. So that's one of the things why I love having the option, of doing it yourself. Help you get out the house too, if you don't get out the house a lot, help you get out the house and give you something to do when you run your errands. But it costs every single month for them to come and remove the trash. And in certain places, I know where my wife's parents are, my in-laws, they all of their trash and water is included in the same bill.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when they were telling me that, I was just like, man,
Royals.
Yeah, I was like, y'all got it going on, man. Like this, though. I'm like, shoot, we got before we turn the water on where I'm at, it's $80 just to have water, just to be able to go to the faucet. You got to spend $80,
Yeah,
So I'm like, man, like that's definitely something that to be thankful of, like that's one of them things, man. When you looking at that, buying a home, looking at where you're gonna move to, things like that. Some of them things are things that we rarely often account for, and then we get where we get, and then now we end up with these bills and just trying to maintain them because we already in there. Now we don't want to look bad, like we, had them, like we can't afford it, right? Because we can't afford it. Like if you're struggling to do it, you can't afford it. Like you are living beyond your means. I think a lot of people have a tough time with that too, because they so worried about what other people think,
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I dropped that. I'm glad that living beyond my means, I realized was something that I had done before, and I understand that it's just associated with my budget.
Yeah.
So it's not anything else that has to do with anybody else. It's just, can I afford it in my budget? Like, can I afford it, or do I have to go and get it? And growing up, having moments where you like, okay, well, we got that bill paid, okay, well, we got that paid. And even coming up early in my career where I still carried that same trauma, from those experiences. But Yeah, we shook that off though. We
it took a while, but
Yeah.
but to be honest though, once it took a while for me to realize that I needed to shake it off.
Yeah.
Once I acknowledged that I needed to shake it off and do something different, it was kind of immediate though, right?
Mhm.
Like the practice wasn't immediate because you have slippities, bippities, or whatever.
Yeah.
But the desire and my intent and my days became more purposeful just because I was trying to be better.
That's right.
I'm trying to hit this, I'm trying to live by this budget. And once I started doing that, like it just made that's why I say, man, food, clothing, shelter, like once you have those things secured, everything else just becomes easier.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's those things are so hard. But even going to work every day is hard. Right? Having a job is hard, right? Like the price of gas, transportation, jerk bosses and nosy coworkers and people going to eat your lunch and stuff like that. You got all kinds of things you got to deal with for not enough money.
People eating your lunch. Somebody getting their lunch. Hey, I advise you make a habanero pepper sandwich one day.
I don't understand that because why wouldn't you assume people would do that? Like
make a ghost pepper sandwich.
Like, got you.
And hide it. You use some turkey slices, some sliced turkey meat, and put it in between it. So when they look at it, all they see is the turkey and everything. Use a little mustard, if you like mayo, put a little mayo on there too, so it stick together, so they don't even see it, but they smell it and they just be like, "Ooh, this smell good." Put a little seasons on it too, Yes, and then let them get that. Let them get that. Let them get that. Tell them bon appetit. Put a little letter in there like somebody fixed your lunch for you. So they feel special. So they think they really hurt your fit. So they think they really taking something from you.
She loves him. She give him a little extra. I'm gonna I'm gonna get his ass today. Yeah.
So they be like, yeah, I'm gonna eat this. Ooh, they got a little letter. I'm gonna ball. Ooh, that's so nice, and I'm gonna ball that up and everything. Yeah, let them go through all that. Let them get everything they deserve.
You got to be an evil person for real to eat somebody's lunch out the break room, right? Like for a fact you didn't make that lunch, you didn't put that lunch in there, like, and you just gonna eat somebody's lunch. Like that's crazy.
That's super crazy. Let's get to this next topic real quick. This next flavor bomb.
Police say this minivan exploded on a busy Fairfax
Literally a bomb.
County road this morning. Investigators believe a propane tank in the van had a small leak, and when the driver went to light a cigarette, the van burst into flames. The woman inside was rushed to the hospital. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder has.
So you wouldn't go get some propane, and you didn't make sure that it was secured, that it was fully secured, that the knob was closed tightly.
God.
You in the whip. You
inside the whip with the propane, guys.
With the propane in the back.
Windows up.
Right? And you gotta light the Black and Mild first, and then before you crack your window, right? So you light up the Black and Mild and things go boom.
Oh my gosh.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
What we doing?
That is crazy. That's some scary stuff.
Yo.
That's some scary stuff, man.
Oh man.
I wonder what she was thinking, like when it, I wonder was she like, damn, am I dead? I wonder, like, after it blew, was she like, am I dead? Am I alive? Is this real? I wonder, did she have
that car looked terrible, sir? Like,
God, let's wait to
reaction from neighbors who saw the van and say they can't believe what happened.
Look at that.
Police say a woman went to light a cigarette this morning, not realizing she was practically igniting a bomb. The entire roof was blasted off and landed in the middle of the road. The windows were blown out, door panels devastated, separated into pieces. Julian Hart can't believe his eyes.
I am in awe that nobody was killed.
You and me and the God Ali too, Jules. No, she did not die.
That girl look terrible.
She did not die. She survived that. It still doesn't make me want to try it. But she did not die.
Julian lives across the street near the intersection of Lee Chapel Road and Old Keene Mill Road. He said he heard the explosion at about 7:30 this morning, and it sounded like a sonic boom.
It shook the townhouses. Pictures fell off the wall. Stuff broke.
Fairfax County Police say a woman was driving this Chrysler minivan this morning, and there was a propane tank inside with an apparent leak that she didn't know about. Investigators believe with temperatures in the 30s this morning, she probably had the windows rolled up, so a leak would have filled the car up with gas. Police believe that she went to light the cigarette. The car blew. Alan Caramella ran out to see what happened. Pieces of the car were blown all over his yard.
There was a piece of door right here, a big piece of the door.
From the van?
Yes, right here.
There's the door, easily 100 feet away from the van. Pieces of glass were everywhere too. Sitting on the curb in front of his house, he says, was the driver.
A woman was comforting her. She was just shaking uncontrollably. And she had burns on her arms. It was like red, like a deep sunburn.
Alan says the woman walked herself to the ambulance when it arrived. Police say her injuries are not life-threatening and say that while the explosion appears accidental, they have assigned a major crimes detective to the case.
The fact that that driver lived, she should go play the lottery today, or she's hit the lottery already by not being killed.
Yeah,
look at that vehicle.
Word.
Look at that vehicle. Let's run that back, y'all, real quick. Let's just look at that. Look at that, y'all.
Oh my goodness.
Man. For real, she should be thanking Jesus, Yahweh, El Shaddai, Allah, somebody.
Yo, on a safety note though, right?
Chrysler might be the best, the safest,
because she didn't die.
Vehicle.
Look at that. They just talked about burns on her arm, and she walked herself to the ambulance.
She survived a bomb explosion in a Chrysler minivan. I'm going out and get me a Chrysler minivan tomorrow. That's a miracle. That is an absolute miracle.
Look at that, man.
And she was able to walk to the ambulance, when they pulled up. Yeah, man. It's a lot to be thankful for, but that right there, that was crazy. That was crazy. Let's go ahead and get into this next one right here, though.
The Trump administration plans to automatically register eligible men for the military draft starting in December, triggering an enlistment protocol that hasn't been used in over 50 years. The policy is part of the Selective Service System, which writes that every male citizen of the U.S. between the ages of 18 and 25 who's eligible must enlist to serve under a draft rather than waiting for self-registration. This move would be rare. It's something the country hasn't done since the Vietnam War. The unusual change comes along with the ongoing conflict in Iran. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt told reporters last month that such a draft is not part of the current plan, but President Trump wisely keeps his options on the table. The change would enable a switch up to the current way eligible men have to register, but bringing back an actual draft would be a bit more complicated than that. It would require Congress to amend the Military Selective Service Act, authorizing the president to enlist civilians during a national emergency. So if a draft happens, who has to register? All U.S. citizens between the ages of 18 to 25, and this includes male immigrants, undocumented immigrants, and refugees. It also includes transgender people who were born male, dual citizens, U.S. citizens abroad, conscientious objectors, and those with disabilities, according to the government's website. Women are not eligible for selective service under the Military Selective Service Act. However, the SSS website says it is prepared to expand registration if Congress were to pass new legislation, including women in mandatory service. Those already on active duty, men with certain disabilities, and men in prison are exempt from registering. Men who have previously served in the military but were discharged before their 26th birthday must also register. Failing to register is considered a felony, and the punishments are big. One can face up to $250,000 or 5 years in prison. Punishment also includes possible denial of student loans, government jobs, and citizenship if not already a citizen. Men must register within 30 days of their 18th birthday, though late registration does go up to age 26. A draft would look something like this. Registrants would enter a lottery, and a random drawing of birthdays and numbers would determine the order and who is picked to report for service. According to SSS policy, the first to receive orders for service are those whose 20th birthday fall during the year of the lottery. If needed, additional lotteries are conducted for those starting at 21 through 25, and then 19, and finally 18 and a half years old. Those chosen can ask for postponement, deferment, or exemption. This can be done by reporting to a local military entrance processing station for an evaluation. After that, the determination whether service will be utilized is made. Automatic draft registration was approved by Congress in December. 46 states and territories already have laws in place to automatically register eligible men when they apply for driver's licenses or IDs. The rule change was sent into the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs on March 30th. The change would result in a streamlined registration process and corresponding workforce realignment, the SSS says. This all comes after registration numbers have fallen off in recent years. According to the Military Times, the option to register was removed from federal student loan forms in 2022, partially responsible for the dip.
Okay, God.
Yeah, so they said Congress still got to approve that, right?
They said that that's going to be going into effect December 1st. That's going into effect December 1st.
Man, you gotta start saving your $250.
Okay. That's going into effect December 1st of this year,
right.
Not of next year.
You gotta start saving your $250.
All right.
Like,
look, man, he said send Baron.
Because I ain't lying. Said I got one that I ain't trying to let go. I'm gonna start saving this $250. You know what I'm saying? Put some on his books, right? So he can do his 5 years.
Yeah, this is crazy though. So if they make this where everybody has to sign up at 18, I like this and I don't like this.
Yes, yeah.
I don't like it because I don't like the fact that that it's being forced. And I think that when you force something like this, it almost puts young people in a position because they aren't from they usually you don't get as much discipline as you ever had until you join the military.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a struggle with that, you know, but both of us being veterans, you know.
And it's not, for me, God, it's not that it's not being, it's you're not being forced for a good reason is my problem that I have, right? Like, because I think in order for culture to persist, you have to be forced, right? Somebody has to be dominant enough to lay down a foundation and a standard and be able to punish, right? That takes.
Okay, so let me get there, right?
Yeah.
Because I get what you're saying, but it don't need to be. But in my opinion, it shouldn't be implemented like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So when you join the military, you have to assimilate. There's an assimilation thing. You have old habits and you have to develop new habits. Okay, you have to develop a new mind frame because it's a disciplined structure, because your life depends on it. Your service members' life depend on it, who depend on you. Okay, no matter what the situation, the operation is. Okay, so you have to learn that. You have to learn to value that, and you have to learn how to be responsible enough to react and act in those situations. So you have to learn that. Okay. When you do a draft, you're forcing people who already have bad habits or or no ambition or things like that. You're putting them in there, and it's kind of like you have to do this. And we know how people can come in and they have a bad experience, and however they respond could then cost them to get a dishonorable discharge or something like that, and then that ruins their opportunities when they get out of the service.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, so they have not approved that yet. Yeah, well, yeah, he is Mr. Executive Order for sure. But I think they're going to do this. I think that this is going to happen because they put a date on it. They had that December 1st date. And the reason why I think that they're going to do this is because I have a strong feeling that we're going to see boots on the ground in Iran. And if we see a ground war, we're going to lose a lot of people. Okay? Because it's going to be, combat. Now, how I would like to see this happen is we already do standardized testing. Okay. If you take the SAT, it's the SAT, the same SAT that all the kids take that try to go to college on the East Coast is the same SAT. On the West Coast, I think they have some other type of test that's equivalent to the SAT.
For real?
Yeah. But you still can sign up and take the SAT. Like if you want to come to school on the East Coast or whatever, it is, unless it's changed. I mean, when I was a student, when I was hoop dreaming and I took the SAT, that's what I thought, that's what it was. I had the ACT or something like that. You had to sign up for that one. But for going to school on the East Coast, you took the SAT. All right. So I took it in the 10th grade. So that's a standardized test. Okay. The ASVAB to get into the military, which is the military entrance exam, is a standardized test. It's the same test for everybody. So what I think will make more sense is this. In high school, just have every graduating student take the ASVAB. Okay. Men and women, not non-gender specific, since they said it don't matter what your gender is, you're gonna go in the draft anyway. We don't care what you think you are. You coming to be a service member. Okay. So
unless you're a criminal.
That's it. All right. So if we say, okay, let's just give every single 11th or 12th grader, at that age, 12th grader, when you graduate, take the ASVAB. It's not so you can, ASVAB is not a pass or fail test anyway. It's an aptitude test. Okay. So it's only going to determine what service you qualify for, and then what jobs that they can possibly say, okay, well, you score really high in this category or really high in this category, you have some options. This way now they can keep a record, they can keep a file of all of the young people, and they test it. So now you have a group of, and this could be a job for retirees. I'm trying to get me a job out of this too, right? But then you could have a talent acquisition branch of the military that maintains these records of these young individuals. And now when the numbers get low, you can actually go and solicit them and say, hey, remember you took this test, you scored this. If they not doing nothing, if they in college and it's not working, if they at home on the couch and not working, or they just working some random jobs and it's not doing anything, now you can still follow up with them and continue to follow up with them and say, hey, you took this ASVAB test and you did really well, have you thought about one of these? Pick a branch of service, anyone, you know? And then now it would be culture. It would be normal.
Correct.
Instead of trying to force unwanted people that'll be like, okay, you know, because people gonna be like, man, I'm gonna go commit a crime. I ain't going. Draft dodgers. You know, we basically gonna bring back, if you create a draft, then you're gonna create draft dodging situation.
Especially if you do not take inmates to war.
Right.
Right. Like I'm saying, like personally, I don't understand why we don't. Like I don't get it. Like why wouldn't they be the first ones you send over there to
Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe the pedophiles and
that's what I'm saying.
and,
Right.
and the murderers. You know,
there's a lot of monsters that can go right. Like
send all the pedophiles first. You know,
there's a lot of monsters that can go, but the thing that you can get spared by going to jail for 5 years, right, and paying $250. I don't know, man.
But I think if we needed people that bad, you know, which, you know, I did, you know, 20 plus years in the U.S. Coast Guard, and we always were critical. It always was, you know, trying to do retention incentives and always, you know, numbers down and then trying to go. But Coast Guard has never invested in a ROTC program. That's something that's not common, you know? So I look at, like, we do these type of these big moves, these forceful big moves like this, like bringing back the draft registration, you know, where you just have to sign. When you turn 18, you got to sign up. That's beyond the selective service. That's just like, you sign up, we probably gonna call you. And they're making penalties now where if you don't sign up from this age to this age, they also proposing that, you know, if you got out, let's say you were 22 when you went in and you did 4 years and got out at 26. Okay. Or you went in at 19 and you got out at 24. You did 4 or 5 years, whatever. And you came out like, nah, you think you're going to get out and go to school or go get a civilian job. If you're not a person who wanted to stay in the reserve component, no, you signed up. So, you know, you have to, or else it's a fine. If you don't, then you could be fined. You're going to be penalized. It's like that. Remember, we didn't have to submit 1095s for healthcare to show that you had healthcare. This is a new thing when you do your taxes.
Yeah.
Americans have not always had to submit a 1095 B for to show that you have healthcare.
I think that was an Obama thing, right?
In order to not get penalized, yeah. Well, it happened under his administration, but Congress approved it. So, you know, that's how I look at it. But I think that if we did it like that, if we approached it like that, then we would get more young people who are in school before they get out and make bad decisions, you know, because they haven't, you know, if it's just like that young brother, that young sister who's like, they only getting a diploma to make grandmama proud or auntie proud or somebody proud just so they could have something, right? They don't really care about going to college or getting a job. They want to get money, but they don't, you know, but they still influenced by their peers and their community and negative stuff or whatever. They haven't really figured out what they're going to do to get money, you know, but they know that they want to make somebody proud. They want to, like, I only got my diploma because Nana V asked me, she was like, can you at least get me a diploma?
Nana V, shout out Nana V.
For real, like, that's how, you know, like, that's how much of a knucklehead I was, you know what I'm saying? So, like, she asked me, because I had told her, I was like, I ain't even going back to school. I'm just about to go out here and get some money, you know? But she was like, can you at least get me a diploma? I ain't even want to walk, bro. I ain't even want to walk, God. I was not interested in a high school diploma at all. And now I'm thankful. I'm so thank you, Mom. You know, because without it, I wouldn't have been able to go and been successful in the other areas of life that I've been able to be successful, if not for not having that first, you know?
Yeah.
But not trying to be tough or not trying to cap or none of that fake. No, I was making bad choices, and I was not, which I thought were the good choices, because I was young and thought I knew every damn thing. All right. And I was not trying to get a high school diploma. So when I heard that story right there, I was just like, man, like maybe it wouldn't have took the 2 years after I graduated to go through all the little stuff that I went through for me to finally say, you know what? Well, really, for Nana V to come back and say, you know what? You need to do something, because you know, because I don't want to bury you, you know. And I'm not coming to see you in jail, you know. I'm not doing prison visits, you know. Yeah, my mother told me that I'm not coming to see you.
Oh no, my mom so told.
yeah, I'm not coming to see you, you know. So what you gonna do, right? And then we did something. Her idea too. She dated somebody named Tony in the Coast Guard, you know. So that's what I'm saying. For young people who may be going down that same path like I was, had I taken the ASVAB coming out straight out of high school, if that was something that they put in front of you and said, hey, by the way, you don't have to take the SAT, but you got to take this test, you know. And then I had a recruiter on my bumper, you know, like saying like, hey, you know, you qualify for this or you qualify for that, man. Pick you one of these branches of service and then at least give it a shot.
Yo,
you know,
say that part again. Like, so me personally, I'm pro ASVAB because of the aptitude and the qualifications that it suggests for you. Like, it do give you like a list of things that you qualify for. So even if you like using your scenario, like even if the person doesn't go directly into the service, by taking that test, they can see what they can study for the next 4 years potentially that they already got an aptitude for, right? So now instead of you know jerking off for the next 4 years, they actually get to do something productive and do something towards a direction of success, right?
They need somebody to tell them that though. See,
that's what I'm saying. That's what that ASVAB to me. That's what that does.
Okay, but no, it don't do that if you don't know that. If you young, right? Like I get it. We could say that now because we grown enough to take a aptitude test now and apply and not go get a job. You know what I'm saying? Like we can take a test now and be like, oh, I did well in this part right here. So let me see how I can take that and apply that to something and build something and make something out of it or continue to build on it, right? But that's from 50 years of life and experiences and lessons though, God. 17, 18, you not thinking like that. You know? So like if somebody, unless you got an elder around you, somebody that you're gonna listen to first, and you're gonna do what they suggest, or you're gonna try at least, okay, then it don't work like that, you know, not for in real life, you know, realistically. You know, there may be some young person who's intelligent enough, but that young person is probably already planning a path to go to college or something, or know they got something they're gonna do, you know, the ones that's thinking like that, because they already trying to make sure that they don't be out here not knowing what they're gonna do. They're planning for, you know, somebody done taught them, hey, think about plant the seed today for your fruit tomorrow.
And not for nothing, in my scenario, I was so scared and so not knowing what I wanted to do that I signed up for the military at 16. Right? Like I knew I wasn't going to college early, but knew that I didn't know what I wanted to do and I needed help. Right? And I went to a place where I can get some help. And what you say, all this time later, look at me now. Gray hairs and all.
Yeah, winner. Family economics, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Family economics. 1016, 160 self-sustainability. Definitely. But But yeah, you know, that's it's gonna be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah.
You know, but I definitely wish that they would do that on a
Differently.
yeah, just do it differently on a, you know, make it a it's a standardized test already, implement it on a high school level. Then the kids don't feel forced. They don't feel scared either. The young people don't feel forced or scared, like, I don't want to join the military. And then they do something like, you know, well, what's exempt? Catch a charge, you know. So then they go do something to catch a charge that, because they're not barren. They don't have a rich exemption. You know, shout out Nate. You know what I'm saying? Like he got a rich exemption, you know. But for the young people who don't have that, you know, our sons and daughters, you know, or let me say our children.
Or you know, generate $1 million and put $1 million in their hands, right? And make them exempt. Like whatever the rich exemption is, like I'm not
Oh
sure.
no. Is
that a milli? Is that a milli? Is that a milli?
No, I'm not saying Barron has a dollar amount exemption. I'm saying he got his daddy with the president 2 times exemption. His daddy ain't go when he was, you know, they called Trump a draft dodger, you know. Yeah, so like he's not
the draft dodger gonna be sending people to prison for drafting or dodging a draft.
Well, this is the thing. If this goes into
that's ironic.
If this goes into law, all right, it'll happen on other, you know, I'm sure we'll see another Democrat president take the White House, you know, in the future. Like I'm sure it's gonna be another Republican too, then another Democrat. Then they seem to be going back and forth at it, back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not going to change this stuff.
Correct.
Once this stuff goes into law, Congress approved it. It's law. They're not going to revisit it.
Nope.
You know, this will be the new standard. Yeah. So President Bone Spurs. Yeah, that's what it was. He had bone spurs. And
for real?
Yeah, that's why he ain't have to go. Yeah. Draft. He's a draft dodger. Yeah. I knew it was some. I didn't know the medical thing. Thank you, Nadine. I didn't know the why, but I knew that there was a specific thing that he had a medical exemption.
There you go. So like all over, like, you know, America got a big obesity problem. So everybody that's obese probably
They taking the fat.
Yeah, come on,
the fat girl's going to. You're gonna burn that off. You're gonna go to boot camp, and they're gonna put you on a nice little diet, and you're gonna burn, and you're gonna try it, and they're gonna take their time. You will have to take your time with these folks.
Like it's gonna be way more than 2 months of boot camp, God. Like think about it, 2 months of boot camp for people that volunteered, that said I want to.
Right.
Now imagine somebody that you just gonna snatch up off the street, kicking and screaming, talking about. Remember the cadence, Mama, I wanna go home, but they won't let me go. Like you're gonna have real people. You're gonna have real people.
I would like to not remember it, because by the time we learned the cadence, I was already committed to being there. Like, but if they would have put that one on me the first week, it would have just influenced how I was feeling. I probably wouldn't have made it, because the first week I'm telling you.
What? That's what I'm saying, God. Like
nah.
you about to snatch people off the street and make them have 2 months of our first week.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's gonna be. They're gonna have to take their time with these people.
Yeah, they will.
Right, like just on a fat boy, fat girl program alone.
Yeah, they would have to. I mean, it only makes sense. I can't imagine you just like, okay, we just gonna show you how to shoot, and then your cannon fodder.
Oh, not to mention all the drug waivers.
Well, they only have the drug waivers on. What they did say, if you have prescription drugs, that's cool, because of course I was on active duty. The same, you know, I ain't putting all my business out there, but I was on prescription duty. I was on prescriptions on active duty, And I could not believe that they would allow me to be on, with the medication I was taking. I was able to take that and still be on active duty. They was like, hey, you could do your job, right?
Hey,
Okay.
that's it. How many things I got up? 2?
Yeah. Like, can you, does any of it require that you can't drive back and forth, that you can't get to work? And then shout out to my man, shout out to Brandon, to Mr. Hines now, Chief Hines. He'd be like, look, I send a GV to your house to get you every day. We need you.
Facts. Facts, God. And that's the thing, right? Like, what you hurt, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it.
He said, Brandon said, man, I'll send a GV to the house. I'll send one of these non-race to get you every day and take you home. He was like, and drive you around to do whatever you need to do for the unit, so, but that I don't think that everybody will be able to get that type of catering too. But they did say that the minimal, they've also raised the new enlistment age to 42. And they taken, if you have a minor marijuana conviction, that you're okay. So if you had, so if you have like, and that went into effect, I want to say April 1st or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but this April, maybe April 12th, maybe tomorrow or something, last week. But now the new age is 42 for enlistment, and you could have a minor conviction, a misdemeanor conviction, like a simple possession or something like that. They waiving that. So that's one of them things that's showing that our military really needs people, man. We really need young people. We really need people to go in. It's crazy.
You'd be crazy to go out there and catch a distribution charge just to avoid going to the military, though.
Yeah, that's wild. It's not worth the time, and
it ain't worth it.
Yeah, like I would never recommend somebody go catch a distribution charge and go, to ruin your whole life. Go get 5 years so you wouldn't go get a trade and lose weight and some discipline. Like, nah, go do that. And then you be able to get you a contracting job or something. You can elevate off that. You go get that other thing. You go do that other move. Now you coming back home to square one, hoping somebody in your family gonna support you because you ain't had nothing, to support yourself.
At least 5 years of lost time.
Yeah. So yeah, y'all, that's it for our flavor bombs.
You've just been flavor bombed, and now back to our show.
Yep. So we have been smoking on trauma bonding tonight, y'all. Make sure to please share and subscribe with sugar on top and whipped cream and cherries and all that good stuff. And smash that like button, y'all. Smash that like button. We've been going over our questions, and now it's time for our fifth and final, last but never least question: is trauma bonding bad, good, or misunderstood? The God Ali Dawood at BK Soul Farm.
So my meaning of trauma bonding was bad. The definition that we found, or the accepted definition that we found, was horrible.
Was horrible, right?
That was horrible. Like that was so that was terrible. So I'm gonna say it's definitely bad, and I'm gonna also say that it's misunderstood because I think that people, like I said, I thought that I called it a low budget therapy, right?
Low budget therapy.
I thought people sharing and stuff like that was, but that's not it. Like, that's not it at all. Like, there's a whole nother word for that we didn't get, but
we didn't get that word.
We didn't get that. I was looking.
Well, they just say it's traumatic bonding, the process of an abusive victim developing a strong emotional bond with the perpetrator of the abuse. So a strong emotional bond with the perpetrator of the abuse. you know.
Right. So yeah, it's misunderstood totally. Like the word is the phrase misunderstood. But the definition is the AI version, the Wikipedia version. Like trauma in itself is terrible. So yeah, it's bad and misunderstood for me.
Okay, yeah. I'm definitely gonna go with bad and misunderstood as well. And pardon me, like what we was talking about, you know, a strong emotional bond with the perpetrator of the abuse. I always say, like, you know, if you in an abusive relationship, then you're allowing yourself to be in that abusive relationship. You know. And good night, Nadine. Thank you for joining us. Make sure please smash that like button on your way out. And we thank you for pulling up. Join us anytime. But definitely bad and misunderstood. And it's just nobody wants to be around people who are abusive, you know. So my thing is like that abuse looks many different ways, come in many different shapes and shades and everything. So definitely bad and definitely misunderstood, because it's being perpetuated as the norm socially, you know, through the movies, the music, and all of these things. Take this trauma, you know, and never look inside yourself, never figure out what you need to heal from, never do self-work, never self-reflect. Instead of self-reflect, ask yourself, could I have done something different? Could I have handled that different? Could I have done something better? Could I have, you know, made a different decision? Was it my decision that caused this thing to be like this? What was my role? You know, and that comes with taking accountability. So, you know, when people don't take accountability, a lot of times they did shit on purpose. So, you know, that's the only way I can view it. I can't view it any other way. You know, I can't view it any other way. And that's, you know, and that continues trauma. So with that said, Cigarden Panel unanimously agrees that the word trauma bonding is bad and misunderstood. And with that concludes our show. We want to thank everybody for joining us today. And like we always say, we are not the gurus. If you find something in the ashtray here on this smoke that you like, we encourage you to pick it up and have a smoke. If not, leave something in the ashtray for somebody else to come by and enjoy themselves. Also, everybody have a peaceful, positive, and productive start to your week. It's spring, y'all. The flowers are blooming. You know, the weather's changing. You know, so it's a great opportunity to get that 10-16 160 self-sustainability and put it into action. So we definitely encourage that. Remember, the links are in the description, y'all, for everything. We got merch and everything. BK Soul Farm, DBCHEFTV. And if money's tight, it's all right. Make sure to smash the like. And don't forget, you can sign up and win $100 cash at DBCHEFTV on YouTube. Just go hit the subscribe button. We appreciate, we thank y'all. And we see y'all next time right here, Sunday, 8 p.m. East Coast time. Myself, Chef Earl Pearl at DBCHEFTV, and the God, Ali Dawood at BK Soul Farm. And we are the Cigarden Panel. Peace, God.
Peace, God.
This whole publication is all about going from nowhere to somewhere, right? Being able to stand on something so that you can travel in peace, right? So bksoulfarm.com, 1016-160 self-sustainability. Jump on the list and get yourself together, right? Because it is irresponsible to not even know what responsibility means. So get yourself together, food, clothing, and shelter, protection of that, support your interests, and live.
Love ain't always easy, and we won't stop until we get it right. So bring that ass to the Love Speak podcast. Subscribe today and let your love speak at TLS Podcast. The Love Speak, now streaming on YouTube. If it's Friday night and you don't have a date, then brunch with the fellas is your spot, so don't be late. We go up at 9 p.m. with the trending topic news. Smash the like, comment, subscribe, and share the content. Don't be rude at Brunch Fellas, now streaming on YouTube. You are the key to your financial freedom, so unlock your inner wealth with financial fundamentals at Bows on the Table. Subscribe today and never miss a meal at Bows Podcast. Bows on the Table, now streaming on YouTube. At the Veteran Kettle Podcast, we thank you for your service, support, and sacrifice to our country. Listen to real stories of adversity and triumph as we give our best to honor our vets. Subscribe today and watch episodes now streaming on YouTube at TVK Podcast, The Veteran Kettle. Sign up for the newsletter and shop merch and clothing at DBCHEFTV.com.